right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast. I'm your host, Frazier. I'm here with my ridiculous co-host, Kenny, who is wearing a collared shirt for some strange reason. And I was like, why are you dressed so nice? First of all, I've known Kenny for 15 years, literally. It's actually been over 15 years. We met in 2010 in January. And for whatever reason, I've never seen him in a collared shirt pretty much in my life.
No.
And today I'm staring at him right now. And I was like, are you wearing a collared shirt? He's like, oh yeah. He steps back a little bit. Why are you wearing a collared shirt? What happened?
So, because he's like, oh, you're looking all spiffy. Frazier's thinking I went and did something important.
I did.
And here's the thing. I do important things. I just don't wear collared shirts to them.
Right.
It was literally just, I'm doing my wash. I was just saying how like fucking ghetto and lazy I am or whatever you want to call it. But I'm doing my wash. And so this nice ass looking shirt was just the topmost shirt of clean clothes that's not being washed. So this was just like the next shirt for me to grab, and I put this shit on.
So you could have grabbed another, like a t-shirt basically, but you chose to grab the spiffy.
All this was the next. Well, I didn't. There was no choosing. I didn't choose a shirt. It was just the next. It was the next shirt. That's all it was.
I gotcha. Well, it looks nice. I will say the shirt actually looks nice.
Thank you. It is a nice shirt.
Yeah, I like a collar shirt.
And it's got it took me a long time to realize, like, I don't know if you guys ever seen on certain collared shirts and there'll be like a button on the sleeve and you're like, what the fuck is that for? But basically you can roll the shirt up and then there's like a piece of fabric that you can put up and then put on the button and it holds it up so that it stays rolled up, if that makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
It took me a long time to realize that was a thing. Like, I didn't realize that was a thing until a couple years ago.
I wore collar shirts a lot because I went to Catholic school as a kid. So I was always in a shirt with a collar pretty much every day of my life for a very long time. And then once I got the option to like, be done with school altogether and just dress myself, which basically started, I guess, in college. Then that's when I got involved in like sweatpants and stuff like that. Before that, I didn't really wear like athleisure or sweatpants or anything. And I used to only wear shoes and boots.
To love wearing gray sweatpants until gay guys started like attacking.
Yep.
Gray sweatpants were just comfortable. And then I would go outside and then I'd get attacked.
Yeah, and now gray sweatpants is like a whole season that actually right now. Yeah. So we're very close to the beginning of fall. And a lot of girls, and I guess guys too, but a lot of people are starting to tweet or make comments about how gray sweatpants season is around the corner and they can't wait. So it's become a whole thing. It really is, all right? It's dick print season. Yeah. Everybody's talking about it's crazy. You know what's so weird? We have a friend who is gay and has had a lot of relationships. Every one of the guys this person dated, you guys have met him, but for whatever reason, I'm obscuring his name. But every one of the guys this person has dated has tried to fuck him. It's been weird. Oh wow!
But
that is fucking random as hell. That is, I don't even know what to make of that. That is so wild. Like you specifically too.
They're just like, I like turning straight men gay. I'm like, can y'all relax?
It's because you're so eccentric, maybe. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to know. Anyway, that's not even what we're here to talk about. That was just the intro rant.
It's not.
I want to talk about my experience this week because
rants, though.
I got called for jury duty, and I get called for jury duty every year, I feel like, and that's not supposed to happen, apparently. When you get called for jury duty, it's supposed to be a buffer between when you get called and I think 2 years before you get called again, or like 18 months at least. But I swear, for crackers and cheese, I got called last year around this exact time, and even my boss was like, I almost thought that you were just BSing, so that just like to take a day off. He was joking, obviously, because we have unlimited time off at my job. We have what's called FTO, so we don't have a set number of days we could take off. It's just literally unlimited. And they expect you to be an adult and not abuse the privilege, obviously. But we don't have a number of days. So if I wanted to just take a day off, and it was on Monday, if I wanted to just take a day off, I could just take the day off. We're not doing anything important right now. I'm not super busy right now. There's actually nothing going on that I can't just take a day off. In fact, today, while I was working, I decided randomly that I was going to take off the first week of September just cause. So I just put in today, I took the entire first week of September from September like 1st to 5th. I'm just off work. I just decided today on a whim. Yeah, it's literally September 1st is a Monday, all the way to September 5th, which is a Friday. I took that whole week off today just cause. And I want to announce this here. I thought about something I wanted to do because I know that there's this whole thing called like Subtober or September that like Twitch does.
Is it? I don't remember if it's September or October, but you are right. In one of those months, Twitch, I think, gives discounts on like subbing to Twitch channels or something like that.
So I felt like it was in September, but either way, we're not on Twitch anyway. We're on YouTube primarily. And so I decided that during that week, I'm going to be streaming a lot during that week. And I might even do a 24-hour stream because the only way I could possibly do a 24-hour stream is if I have enough time to recover and prep for it. And I need, like, having a week off a full 7 days of no work, which is essentially what it's going to be. I guess it'll be 9 days because I'll have the Saturday and Sunday before that week. Then I have the Saturday and Sunday after that. So I have 9 days off of work, actually. Taking off a week of work is actually 9 days, I just realized.
I love setting up like that. When I go to Vegas, I set up in a similar way where, like, I only have to take off. Like, you can just get extra days because, like, I'll leave for Vegas, like, Friday night, let's say. And so I'll get that whole weekend, and then I'll get that whole week, and then I'll get that whole weekend.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, so I'm going to be off for 9 days straight. Now I just realized that, which is going to be really fucking nice. I plan to do a 24-hour stream one of those days, and this is coming up very soon, by the way. Like, it's literally August 20th, so this was decided today on a whim. But I'm going to do that. Also, me and Simo are going to be recording some content, or not. Simo is going to be doing his subathon thing that he does, apparently, and I'm going to be one of the blocks because he has all these blocks. Like, he has MBT and Simo do this, and he's going to have pro whatever player from Hearthstone, and they're going to do something. And then he's going to have another guy from Magic the Gathering do something. And then at some point, it's going to be pro Edison player me on his channel, and we're going to do stuff together, which is going to be really fun. So he reached out to me, and we decided we're going to coordinate and do something on his subathon. And during the same week, I said, fuck it, I'm just going to be doing a subathon type of thing too. So I'm probably be streaming a lot of me playing Dueling Book. I'm going to find a video game to play. Maybe I'll pick up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth again. Maybe I'll start Final Fantasy X. I was talking about that briefly. Like, I might start Final Fantasy X from the beginning on PC. I have not played it on PC yet. Played it on pretty much every other system.
Great game. One of the best.
Yeah. And after beating Clair Obscur, which is definitely one of my favorite games of all time and one of my favorite RPGs, obviously, I was like, oh, what's my other favorite RPG? And it's Final Fantasy X. So I figured I might actually revisit that. I'm not exactly sure. I might have to write out like a list of all the things that I want to do because Simo has like this fucking list of 30 things going on that is so detailed and well put together. That man is a machine. Granted, this is his full-time job, so I get it. But I am just inspired by the way he has a list of like, these are all the things that are happening during my subathon. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I just be winging shit. And he has everything. And I'm a controlling type A person who literally does super organization stuff like that too. But yeah, so I'm gonna figure out some ideas. And if you have ideas, if you're listening to this, if you have ideas,
they're gonna have ideas.
If you have ideas, please let me know. That would be awesome.
You don't like all of their ideas, but they'll have them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen to suggestions that don't make sense for me anyway. Like, I weed through them. But that's coming up. So this is the first time you guys are hearing about this. Is I will be off the week of September 1st, and I will be streaming a lot during that week. And, you know, we'll do a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament like we always do on a Tuesday. I might do additional Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments and stuff like that, just to like have something to get through the time or whatnot and give people something to do. But it should be a good time. It should be a really, really good time. Anyway.
Hell yeah.
So I got off track, but I had jury duty on Monday, and I fucking hate jury duty. I think it is a waste of time unless you are a person who is actually excited to do your civil duty, because people who hate it like me, people who just have no desire to do it, we're just going to purposely answer the questions that you get when you first go, like in the first hour. We're just going to answer the questions in a way where we can't be picked. I have never been picked for jury duty in my life, and I've probably gone now 7 times in my life.
It's so annoying. I have some jury duty stories to follow you up.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just say like what happened with me. And this is pretty much what happens every time. So I got picked for jury duty again randomly. I got the summons in July, and it was for August 18th, which was Monday of this week. So I was really annoyed. I told my boss, I was like, yo, I just got another jury duty summon. And I swear to God, I did this last year. And that's when he brought up the whole thing. Like, I wasn't sure if you were being serious or not. I didn't know if you just wanted the day off or something. And, you know, obviously, like I said, I have unlimited time off, so I don't have to do stuff like that. But anyway, I woke up at 6 a.m.
It's so funny.
Right. I woke up at 6 a.m. I had to be there at 8:15. So I woke up at 6. I showered. I just like chilled for a little bit. I made sure my iPad was charged. I made sure Slate Aspire would boot. And because it was like you can bring a book, and, you know, obviously you bring your phone, you bring your iPad, whatever. This is going to end up biting me in the ass. But anyway, I charge my iPad. I bring my external hard drive, which has like every episode of Free Rent, every episode of like a couple shows on it. And I'm just like, okay, I have enough stuff to get me through the day, because in my past, when I've gone to jury duty, there have been times when I'm going to jury duty and it's literally had me there longer than I would be working. Like, usually I'm done work at 4 o'clock. I got done jury duty one time at 5 something, and it's
basically a prison.
It is. It's actually awful. Like, genuinely prison style awful.
The problem with a lot of these things with the way our government works, like, it just needs to be updated. The way jury duty currently functions is designed for the 40s.
It is.
It just needs to be updated in the way it works and the way it functions. I don't need to be there. You don't need 400 people to show up and then you sift through them that day. You could just call me and let me know. Like, you can whittle it down to 27 guys.
Yep.
Like, these are the 27. And it might be 10 of them. But, like, the fact that you show up and there's, like, 400 people and only 15 of you are actually going to end up in jury duty is insane.
It is actually wild.
Whittle this down before I get here.
I was a part of a group of 60 humans. First of all, like you said, and I'm glad you brought this up, you have a way with words because jury duty is so archaic the way it's done in Philadelphia. Now, I cannot speak to other cities, but our jury duty in Philadelphia is so behind the times when it comes to technology. Almost none of the process is computerized.
No.
Most of the process is manually done by people saying, guys, I'm going to need you to line up in alphabetical order, starting right here and then going back. So then, like, it's literally a person saying, okay, you're juror number 1, you're juror number 2, you're juror number 3. And, like, they're telling you to write this down with these little bullshit pencils they give you when you first arrive and you fill out the questionnaire. It's a 3-layer sheet. And it's one of those sheets that starts off white, then it goes yellow, then it goes pink at the bottom.
Yep.
And when you write on it, the pressure from your writing, it gets through all 3 levels. So whatever your responses are, you can see it on each level and they make you rip this apart. This entire thing can just be done digitally. Yep. There's no reason why I need to be handwriting my name, my street address, and then checking the boxes with my fingers. Like, this should all just be something that is done the night before on a computer.
Y'all know who I am. You know my address. That's why I'm here. Like, the only reason why I'm here is because you know my name and my motherfucking address.
That's
I wouldn't be here if you didn't.
Yeah. They know everything about you already. It is kind of a farce. What's funny is that, so they send you a jury duty summon in the mail, and I actually just do it in the trash, which I have it right here. But you have to complete this questionnaire, which I never do because in the last like 10 years or so, it says you can just log on to this website and do it there. And the questionnaire just asks you like, please answer the following questions. Any false or misleading information will subject you to a fine or imprisonment or both. If you have any questions about your responses, indicate in the remarks section and include your telephone number / email address. All answers are confidential. If you are unable to fill out this form, have another person assist you and explain the reason for assistance in the remarks section. First question, have you been convicted of a crime punishable by imprisonment of more than 1 year? This does not include traffic tickets and cases resulting in admission into diversionary programs not resulting in convictions such as ARD. Can you read, write, and understand the English language? Can you mentally and physically properly perform the functions of a juror? If no, provide medical certifications and remarks. Are you a U.S. citizen? And then the last question, are you a resident of Philadelphia? If no, you are disqualified and need not appear. You must return this questionnaire and provide proof of your new address. So you can do all of this part online. So obviously I'm not filling out a paper and then mailing this because that's fucking ridiculous and nobody should be mailing anything in 2025. So I naturally just logged onto the website at the bottom and filled out this exact questionnaire, throwing this back in the trash. I logged into the website at the bottom, filled out the questionnaire digitally because that's what any sane person would do. Why did I show up to a pencil with no eraser, that's not really that well sharpened, and a form, and then I fill out 20 questions, which again, I could have just done this the night before like I did the questionnaire, and you guys would have you would have known that there's no way with my responses, I purposely write things that make it where you cannot choose me to be a juror. Yeah. The primary question that I always answer that I know they will never pick me is, if someone is a police officer, would you have a hard time believing them strictly because they are a police officer? And I always say yes. I say yes to that question every time. And whether I'm answering that truthfully or not doesn't matter. I know for a fact that me saying something like that means that you cannot pick me as a juror, because I'm literally telling you I am biased against police officers. And if the case is a criminal, which this was a criminal case, if the case is criminal and it involves a police officer's testimony against a person, I am automatically going to side against the police officer. And I'm letting you know that from the gate.
I just want to give you a little bit of credence here, even though I know you don't care. I want to give you some credence though, because to clarify from my point of view on what you just said. Yeah. Because some people might be like, that's whatever fucking argument they'll have. At the end of the day, right? The truth is the police officer is against the criminal, right? The person who's convicted of the crime, right? So you don't even have to be a person that says, I don't like police officers. Just by the fact that they are the opposing party, you should take their testimony as biased because obviously it's biased toward their side. They want to win. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're automatically biased because they are the opposing party. They're not a neutral observer in the situation. So you have to take their testimony with a grain of salt. You have to understand there's an implicit bias to it. You have to look at it under a microscope because they have an incentive to twist the truth or not tell the whole truth.
Everybody does,
whatever
too.
it may be.
Yeah,
everybody does. Yeah.
The criminal does too.
I just think that makes sense, but I completely agree with you. I would answer it the same. I mean, I haven't.
So they don't ask you, the person who's the defendant in the case, like if you would also judge them in any specific way based on like certain things, because I would also argue if somebody was, on trial for like sexual assault or rape or murder or that type of things, like would I have a bias towards them? Most likely I would. Because I would be kind of like, well, okay, somebody's dead or somebody has been a victim of a crime, which like if there was a rape kit and all that, then at the very least, like this person, they went to the police and got a rape kit done. They were raped. So let's just not have the hypothetical like, oh, how do you know that? Let's just assume that this person was actually assaulted. I'm most likely going to take the side of that person regardless of the other party, or depending on like if it's the other way, I might be against that person from the onset because I just don't believe you. Like I have natural biases that every human is going to have.
You know what my example of that police question is? Because this is the one I remember the most. And I think this might be a specific question because I think sometimes the questions are based on what kind of case they think it might be.
Right.
This question I always answer wrong in that it's like, if essentially, I don't remember the exact questions, but it'll be like a company versus a worker. And every single time it's like, I'm choosing the worker. I don't give a fuck what the situation is.
Yes.
I'm always going against the company.
Oh, yes.
And so there'll be like 5 different questions, and every single time my answer will be whatever the answer is against the company.
Yes.
Every fucking time.
Yeah, if you're suing Walmart, if like you and Walmart have beef and you're in court for it and it's like a civil suit where you're not trying to get Walmart thrown in prison, but you're trying to get Walmart to pay some money, I'm just on the side of the person every time.
Every time.
Yeah, because Walmart and the companies like Walmart are just scum of the earth anyway, and they're exploiting their workforce. They're exploiting all types of different things in order to just be profitable because capitalism.
Yep.
So, one, they got it to pay, and I'm here for the everyday man, the man who just works and is trying to get over Walmart, even if they're not, or if they're not trying to get over Walmart, who cares? Like I'm against companies that are like, super capitalist conglomerates. So yeah, they ask me those questions. I answer them the same every year. They're the same questions. But my whole thing that really annoys me is that I'm doing this in person, and I know at 8:15 when I walk in, I got there at like 8:10. I actually got there a little later than I like to be. I still was there before 8:15, but I wanted to be there at like 7:50 just to be like super safe. But my Uber, anyway, I had like Uber issues in the morning, and they kept doing that thing where it's like finding you another driver, your driver canceled.
I hate when that happens.
It's so annoying, bro. It could derail your entire commute somewhere.
Yep.
So that was annoying.
You could be ahead of time. And
I was.
Like, Uber just fucks up 4 times in a row, and now all of a sudden you're 15 minutes late, and you're like, how the hell did this happen?
I did wait and save because that's how ahead I was. Because I said I got up at 6 a.m. I got up at 6 a.m. I took a shower, and so I got dressed and everything. I was ready basically by like 6:50. I was completely like, if jury duty could have been at 7:30, I was ready to be out the house at 6:50. But I didn't have anything to do, so I was like, I'm just going to chill, make sure all my things are ready, and like I just did like some quick stuff. I opened up CapCut for a second and just checked like, oh, maybe I can edit a video on my iPad. That absolutely was not happening, but I just attempted it. To see how CapCut functions on the iPad, and like you can do it, but I don't think it's meant for long form editing.
And I was like, that's like for TikTok shit.
It is, and I was like, realistically, I'm just not going to be at jury duty editing a video. I'm just not doing that. It's not that deep. I'll wait until I get home. So I'm there.
Also,
go ahead.
I wanted to say real quick on the wait and save thing. I almost always do wait and save, unless I have to be, unless like I got like I'm on time. It's like I need to just order an Uber. I almost always do wait and save for 2 reasons. One, I usually am ready early enough where I can afford to wait the 15-20 minutes and I don't care. But 2, half the times when I click wait and save, I get the Uber in like 5 minutes.
I know. It's like an exploit.
I'm like, sweet. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, wait and save has never made me wait 15 actual minutes. It says wait time up to 15 minutes, I think. I've never waited 15 minutes for wait and save in my life.
Yeah.
So I just clicked that option now, and it's basically like you said, especially in my area, because I live in a city. I live in Philadelphia, and I live in a pretty like busy area, I would say. I tell people, if you call an Uber, make sure you are ready and have your shoes on, because when you call Uber at my apartment, it is going to be outside. You're going to be scared at how fast the driver is calling you like, yo, I'm outside. Mm-hmm. Like you will click the button to say like, I'm confirming this Uber, I'm paying the money now. The second you do that, it'll be like 1 minute away. Literally, the driver's 1 minute away. It's like, how, bro? Like, what the fuck? Like, how could they possibly be 1 minute away? So I'm at jury duty and I'm annoyed filling out this form, same questions and all that nonsense. They do that thing where they call out people's individual names, and they're literally doing, this is like school. They're literally calling people Frazier Smith, and you have to out loud in an auditorium size room say here or present or like go birds, because like he was like, you can say whatever you want, just make sure that I know you're here. If you want to say go birds, that's fine. If you want to say here, present, whatever. So people were being funny. Some people just like,
I hate cops. Oh, wow. Get him out of here.
Oh, that would have been crazy. That would have been OD crazy. Hopefully I do that next time and they just don't ever invite me back. But so, and you guys know, my name is Frazier Smith. My dad's name is also Frazier Smith. So one of the things that I started to think when I was talking to my boss about this, like a couple of weeks ago when I first let him know I had jury duty on the 18th, I was like, I wonder if somehow my dad has shoved his jury duties onto me and like literally is using my address for this type of thing. And because it doesn't say, me and my dad have a different middle name. So like my middle name is Alante, which if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or if you just know me, you know that already, because it literally says it when you play in Konami events. It fucking says your full first, middle, and last name on the paper. So like everyone,
so crazy.
Yeah, it does. It says all three of my names are on the paper. So like you can see my full name. A lot of people probably already know that. Some people don't, whatever. And my Instagram name is like Saint Alante. So the Alante, that part of my name or that part of my Instagram handle is actually my name. Like it's literally my name. My dad's middle name is not Alante. So we have that distinction, but our first and last name is exactly the same. He is Frazier Smith and I am also. The summons just says Frazier Smith. And the fact that I got it twice in a row, as in 2 years in a row, a lot of people are like, that's not supposed to happen. Like almost everyone I talk to, whether they be a coworker or someone else, is like, that's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to, if you went last year, you're not supposed to be able to go again the year, like a year later. And I was like, I thought the same thing. Now, I haven't Googled this yet. I haven't looked into the Google AI because it's, Google AI will be the first result. I haven't looked into this at all, but enough people have said it that it's kind of one of those things that has become true in my mind that I just should not be able to be picked for jury duty because I did it last year. But yeah, everyone's like, you shouldn't be able to do this again. So then I started to get the crazy idea, the crazy conspiracy theory that my dad, whose name is the exact same, and the jury duty summons just says the exact same. It just says Frazier Smith on it. I was like, what if my dad and me are both being summoned, but I keep going? And like, we're getting summoned every other year, but I go every year because he's fucking using me as like a way to get out of jury duty. That would be so insane. That was my thought.
Isn't it funny that Konami has more like qualifying, identifying credentials than the government? Konami has your middle name. The government's like,
for Yu-Gi-Oh!
The
tournaments.
government's like, I don't give a fuck.
Literally. So I'm there. I fill out the form. The guy calls everybody. They eventually get to me. They make me and 59 other people line up against the wall in 2 single file lines. So like every person has to have a partner, he said. So it's 30 and 30. We're standing there and then they're like, is Judge Cipriani here? And they're like, no, the judge is not here yet. So actually they can all just sit back down. So then we all just sit back down. So then I'm playing Slay the Spire and I'm having fun. I'm playing Watcher and I'm on like, it was like Ascension 4. It was literally Ascension 4. So there's no chance I could lose. I'm just like speed running this Ascension. Well, actually not really, because some of the fucking Watcher's turns just take ridiculous amounts of time to think through.
Yeah, even on low Ascension, you're just like, all right, what am I gotta...
Yeah, Watcher...
And it's not necessarily that you're going to lose, but right. There's a lot of shit you gotta do.
Yeah, you just have to like, because you could lose. You just have to like, obviously you don't want to go into Wrath and just take 40 damage, because even on Ascension 4, double damage is double damage. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Ascension 4 is super easy, and I can never lose Ascension 4 with any character if I literally just try. But at the same time, Watcher's a character that if I'm just playing so OD reckless and I fight against Book of Stabbing and I go into Wrath, have no way to get out of Wrath, and Book of Stabbing, I'm just dead. Like I'm dead like anyone else. So anyway, I'm playing and I'm like thinking through my turns, and the guy's like, all right, line up again, which is like so annoying, because then some of my so this is another thing, like phones are unlike Steam. When I'm playing on my computer, when I'm playing on my laptop, phones have a limited amount of RAM. So when I close down the application, like I don't close the application, I just close my phone or close my iPad, right? So I'm in the middle of a battle, but now it's like they're calling like everyone else to get up again. So we're all getting up, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like almost at the end of this battle against Gremlin Knob or something, and I close my thing. We line up. we don't get to the next area for like 15 minutes. By the time I open my phone again, the whole program has restarted because phones suck. So now I have to restart my fight against this elite and be like, oh my God, okay.
I just want to say something real quick. I'm so fucking happy this happens to you because you know, I just have cheap phones. I don't get expensive phones.
Yeah.
I get cheap phones. And so this happens to me. And I just always thought, like, man, maybe one day I'll stop being a cheap ass and I'll get a phone, like a better phone with better RAM or whatever. Because this happens to me.
I have
but the fact that
iPhone.
I assume you have, like...
I have the newest iPhone. I have the most expensive iPhone you could possibly own. Whatever the most expensive iPhone you could possibly own, I have the 16 Pro Max, which I'm pretty sure.
So if it happens to you, there's nothing I can do.
Yes.
Nothing I can do.
I even closed, because it happened once during the Jury Duty thing, where my Slay Aspire session, because I got interrupted by a guy telling me, like, hey, you got to turn your phone off in this room. So, like, as I'm playing, like, you know, some random fucking jury helper dude, like, dressed in a nice suit and everything, comes over to me, he's like, hey, my man, you gotta, like, turn it off or whatever. So then I'm like, all right, I'm again in the middle of a fight because that's what Slay Aspire is. So I'm like, all right, I don't turn my phone off because no one's ever doing that. I just like close it and just put it in my pocket. But by the time I'm allowed to use it again, the program is just like, yeah, we don't remember that you were in this fight at this exact moment. The enemy had 6 HP left, and like, you know. So I'm like, fuck. So that happened to me multiple times. So I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna close every other application because I thought like this is clearly a RAM problem. It can't like hold the program. So I closed every other application on my iPhone, and I didn't realize I was like, God damn, I had like 36 applications open. So I'm over there swiping up. I'm like, yo, like I had so much shit open, Kenny. It was wild.
I believe you.
So I closed everything.
I've been there.
I closed everything, and now Slay Aspire is the only thing. So I'm playing. Here's what I don't like about jury duty. So we go to one room, and we're literally just sitting there. They tell me that I'm jury number 38. And so I'm sitting next to random people. Jury number 39 is on one side of me, and jury number 40 is on the other side of me. And we're sitting there, and literally an hour and 30 minutes go by with us just sitting in a room in complete silence, and there's nothing going on. And we're not allowed to have phones in this specific room, which I thought was so fucking crazy. Once to again, me.
They're like so archaic, and then like it's just, why can't I have a phone in this room? What fucking secrets of the NSA am I gonna leak in this fucking room?
And the guy who escorted us to this room, one of the official dudes or whatever, he was like, so when we get to this room, I'm gonna ask you guys, like, you know, to be quiet, and there's no phones allowed. The judge really doesn't like if you use phones, you're not allowed to record in there and everything like that. Like just all of this anti-technology stuff. But what's weird to me, when we get there, they sit all 60 of us down, and we all have to sit down in a very specific order. And then the judge doesn't come to this room ever. In fact, in this room that we're there for an hour and 30 minutes doing absolutely nothing. Now, people who have books are like reading books, but like my books are on my iPad. Like that's how I read. I read books on my iPad. If you guys remember, I bought an iPad 2 years ago just to read the new Hunger Games book that came out, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I literally bought an iPad for that reason. I rarely use the thing. It's sitting over there right now. I don't really use it. I'm actually going to probably start reading One Piece soon. And that's the other reason that I use it, is like to read manga. But I don't really use my iPad. So this is one of the times I was like, oh, I'll actually get use out of it. No, I get there and they're like, you can't use that in this room. So an hour and a half goes by of me just dozing off now because I'm fucking bored and tired and in my own thoughts. And eventually the guy comes back and he's like, all right, we're going to go to this room across the hall. Literally, we have to line up in this exact order again. Then we have to, in pairs, walk into the next room and sit the exact same way, but mirrored.
They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing.
Bro, unbelievably bad. Oh, that's so hard to say. Unbelievably bad. It was so fucking bad. I could not believe that we're literally going to mirror what we're doing in this room and go across the hall and do the exact same thing. So then we do that. Now, this time, after a half hour or so, this chubbier white lady comes out with glasses on. She's probably about like, I want to say like 48. She comes out. She's very clearly the judge. She's sitting up on top of the dais and she sits down. She starts speaking and she gives us this 20-minute spiel that I was wondering if it was rehearsed, because a lot of it was just trying to make us feel like it was our duty and that we should be proud to be doing what we're doing, no matter how we voted, no matter which party we belong to, no matter what our religious affiliations are. She basically said, remove all your biases. This is a good thing that you have to do because every American person, we have the greatest judicial system in the world. And because we have the greatest judicial system in the world, we're all entitled to a trial by our peers. And she just tries to make it sound like so great to be an American and have our judicial system. Cannot talk today. But But it takes her 20 minutes to get through this, and she throws in several jokes, several things to like just be funny. And she is actually, I'm not gonna lie, she's charismatic. That's the one word that I thought. She's a very charismatic speaker. But I could not help but wonder, is this something she says every single day, multiple times a day, to every group of jurors that she sees?
Yeah.
Because that to me seems so robotic and fake. And at that point, they could also just computerize that too.
Yeah,
like,
all this. It probably also doesn't take 20 minutes to explain that. Like, there's no way that speech needs to be 20 minutes long.
It was long as shit. And they could have honestly played a presentation that they play to every juror on a fucking, get a projector, which the rooms do have projectors in them. They could have just had a projector give this entire like spiel about why it's your civil duty and all this other nonsense, right? All the jurors are like, oh, regardless of political affiliation, jury duty is something that you should be proud to do as an American. Our justice system is so great and you should be unbiased and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And just a bunch of that. Eventually they get to the meat and potatoes. They go, I'm going to ask you a set of questions and I want you to raise your card. So we got these square cards that have our numbers on it. So mine has the number 38, really big on it. And so they ask you questions, like really crazy questions, I want to say, that if you agree with the question, essentially, you raise your number to say this applies to me. So it's like, does anyone here feel like they cannot perform their duty as a juror today because of extreme circumstances? And then she goes on what seems like another 5-minute spiel about what an extreme circumstance is. She says, everyone here had to sacrifice something to be here. Whether that was you took time off of work, you had to find a babysitter, you had to find somebody to take care of your sick parent that you normally take care of. And she gives all these different things that do not qualify as extreme circumstances, basically.
Yeah.
And she says extreme circumstances are something like, I literally breastfeed my child, and without me, my child will not eat. That is an extreme circumstance. And like all these other things, like I am ill or whatever, blah, blah, like just extreme things, right? So she's like, if this applies to anyone, raise it. So like 2 people raise their thing. Then they get like to more ridiculous, aggressive questions about like, would you believe a police officer type of thing? And would you take the side of this person based on their race, ethnicity, religion, sexuality, whatever, stuff like that. And so those questions, I'm like, this is how you get out of jury duty. These are your opportunities right here. If you do not want to be here the whole day, you need to raise your hand for one of these. It does not matter what you actually believe. If you want to get out of this, you raise your hand for one of these extreme questions like this, and they'll let you out. I raised my hand, and 9 other people raised their hand. And then they did this. So then they go through a bunch more of these questions. At the end of it, they say, okay, juror number 1, 2, 5, 7, 11. And they call out all these names from 1 through 60, skipping over several numbers. I was one of the numbers that got skipped. They have all the people who got called stand up. They go into this back room. And then we, the people who didn't get called, we were just sitting there for literally another hour with nothing happening. Another hour of just sitting there, which is kind of like our punishment for being assholes, because I already know what I've done this. I know what's happening. Yeah. Clearly, we're the people who are about to be dismissed, but they're not going to dismiss us without a little torture, because the justice system loves a little torture. So to sum up this whole thing, I get there at 8:15, right? Or I'm due there at 8:15. I get there at 8:10. I get there at 8:15. I do not leave jury duty until 2 p.m., which means I was there for 6 hours. And I didn't do a single thing. Did you break for lunch? Did you go to lunch or no? That was also the thing that really burned me out. This was the first time in the history of me doing jury duty that from 8 o'clock when I got there until 2 p.m. when they dismissed us, they literally never even mentioned a break or lunch at any point. Now, I eat lunch every day around noon. Like literally, I start choosing to eat food at noon every day or later. Never 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is like crazy for me because I'm already hungry by noon, but sometimes I'm in the middle of something, so I'll be like, all right, fuck it, I'll do this until 1 and I'll eat at 1. The fact that 12 o'clock came, I was looking at my watch, my Apple Watch, and I was like, yo, I am so hungry. It was like 12:32. I was like, I am so fucking hungry right now.
And you're hungrier when you're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yes.
The hunger, though, you feel the hunger more. You're like, bro, what is happening?
And embarrassingly, my stomach was making the craziest hunger noises. And because we're in a courtroom and the acoustics are already crazy, there's no one speaking, no one's talking. So you can literally just hear my stomach. It sounds like an episode of Naruto. Like when Naruto's hungry,
that's awesome.
You hear the really loud sounds that Naruto's stomach makes when he's hungry. It sounds exactly like that. My stomach was wilding the fuck out because I was so goddamn hungry. And I was like, I know every other juror, literally every other of the 59 people in this room can hear just my stomach, which was so annoying. So yeah, that whole experience was terrible. I got dismissed and I went to Reading Terminal because our jury duty is literally the same place, like across the street from the place anyway. It's across from where Philly regionals are at. So the Philadelphia Convention Center and where jury duty at are on the same street. And the Reading Terminal is also on the same street.
That's where when I had jury duty, that's where I went to eat.
Yep. I went right to the Reading Terminal afterwards. I was like, I'll be damned. The one thing about jury duty that I loved, that I always love, is that I do get to go to Reading Terminal that day. And I was like, I'll be damned, because I was so hungry and I wanted to just go home and like chow down. But I was like, I'll be damned if I do not at least go across the street to Reading Terminal and get myself something really, really good to eat to like kind of make up for this entire fucking day just being a wash.
Yeah.
And so I did. And I got, God, what did I end up getting? I ended up getting the nearest barbecue. I got wings. And I got cheese fries from this one place called Hunger Burger, and I got macaroni and cheese, and I got a couple desserts. I got a big thing of pineapples for $5.99 because I've been eating a lot of fruit since I've been getting like trying to eat healthier and trying to eat more fruit and stuff since May 20th. So I got a big thing of pineapples. I got some pound cake from this one like black-owned bakery that's in the Reading Terminal. I got a cupcake from them as well that had like real, whatever you call it, real cream, real something icing or something. I don't know. Whatever you call it, I was like, I don't really care. I just was thinking like the cupcake looks good. Just give me the cupcake. Like I don't care what you really did to it to make it better than other cupcakes. Like I'm going to eat it, and then if it's good, I'll come back, and if it's not good, I'll never be back. But I got a bunch of desserts and a bunch of bullshit, and I came back to my apartment and I ate all the food and I watched the show, and then I got extremely tired. And it was Monday, so me and Kenny actually had to record Master and Disaster. So I fell asleep and I set an alarm. I told my home assistant to set an alarm for 6 p.m. And then at some point, I think Kenny asked me like, what time we were recording? Well, I think I messaged you and I said, Master and Disaster today. And you were like, yeah. And then at some other point, you asked me like, what time? And then I was like, 6 sounds good.
Yep.
I was so tired Monday. That experience drained me.
Days like that take it out of you, man. Like when you're just out in the world doing shit, especially if it's hot, it just drains you. And then if it's really boring, it drains you. I've had jury duty a couple times. I actually became a juror once, like an actual juror. It was like the very first time I got called. I think I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Like, fuck it. I might have been 19, but I was like, fuck it. I'll, like, I knew even by then, I knew that, like, you could just get out of it.
Yeah, you could tell.
Racist. You can just do that. You're good.
You really can't just do that, though.
But I already knew that, but I was like, you know what? It's my first time ever getting called.
Right.
I was like, I'll actually like go through the process normal and whatever. So I actually ended up becoming a juror. Something that was kind of interesting, I guess, is that I was the youngest juror there.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up becoming like the lead juror. Like I was like the lead person. I was the person that like read out the things like for all I was the person that spoke on behalf of the jury.
Oh God.
When we were like in the jury quarters, like I was the main person arguing with people. Like I was letting people have it back there. This is when I'm like 18, 19 years old.
So you got time.
Have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got time today.
It was interesting though too, because like it's not even like I was just talking shit. Like I had, whatever. But both of the lawyers, and this is also when I learned that at the end of the day, all the lawyers, like prosecutor, defense attorney, they're all friends. They're all homies.
Yep.
Afterwards, both of the lawyers like came up to me and they were like, "Hey, I'm just curious." And they started asking me questions. They were like, you're the youngest one. How did you become the lead juror? How blah blah blah? And I was just like talking to the lawyers for like fucking 20 minutes. So that was actually fun. But since then, I was like, all right, like I did my thing, and I never want to do it again, even though it was fun. I never want to do it again because the process of getting there is so fucking annoying.
You know what it is, Kenny, for me?
Yeah.
Somehow they always pick an inconvenient week. So this
is important to the next part of my story, but go ahead.
There's a chance that I would actually be interested in doing jury duty once for the life experience and actually serving on a court case or whatever. There's a chance that I would do that. The problem is this is the week that I'm flying to an event. Like, I'm literally flying out on Friday morning, and I'm talking about the ass crack. I'm leaving my apartment at like 5 a.m. on Friday morning. So This is like the 1 week that I'm traveling since literally Japan. I have not, I've not flown anywhere since May.
All these weeks they could have got you.
They could have gotten me at any other time, and I have not flown anywhere. I didn't go to nationals in Indianapolis. I didn't go to fucking any of the RBTs, like in random, like there was one in California, Santa Clara. I didn't go to that. Like there was opportunities where I literally chose to stay home, and I've not been on a plane since landing back in the United States. So like the fact that they waited until the very week to have a court trial that could end up going for several weeks, in which case I can't just like fly to another state. You're not allowed to do that. I can't just like fly out on Friday or whatever because it's like, oh, you're committed to this trial and you have to be there or not. So that really bothers me. Every time I've ever had jury duty, it's always like, this is the week of nationals. This is the week of like somebody's baby shower or someone's fucking wedding or like something just so specific that I literally am committed to and I refuse to miss. And it's like, yeah, I need to make sure that I do not get picked. Like, this is a bad week. I need to make sure I do not get picked.
Yeah, that's happened a lot. I've gotten out of jury duty a bunch of times since then, but I had fun for the one time that I did it. I wanted to have the life experience of doing it. But one of the most recent times, this was so funny. I got a jury summons and I look at it and I'm looking at the date and I'm like, man, this date sounds really fucking familiar. Like something is on this date. And I'm like, rack my brain. And I go, you know what? I think I know what the fuck it is. I go on Google. I was correct. It was the day Tears of the Kingdom came out.
Oh, wow.
I was like, when I tell you I am not going to this thing.
Yeah.
So
see,
I came up with some excuse. I came up with some excuse. Like I didn't even go. Like I didn't show up. I came up with some excuse. Had COVID or something. I don't remember.
Yep. That's a great one.
And then so like, they're like, okay, we'll send you another letter in like 4 months. And then you have to come to that one. I was like, okay. So it happens again. They send me the letter. And then I don't remember what this date was, but this was like another really inconvenient date. It might have been like the date I was going to get married or something. Like it was like a crazy inconvenient date. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And so I found an excuse to get out of that one. And they were like, you need to have a doctor's note. And I was like, well, I can't go to the doctor. I remember arguing with them because like I can't go to the doctor. I was like, I'm sick. Like I'm like super sick. I'm coughing, like all this other shit. And they're like, you need to have a doctor's note. You were sick last time. I was like, yeah, but like if I get in an Uber, I'm going to get somebody else sick. I have to like social distance. I'm like, I'm giving them their shit. I'm like, yeah, I was like, I don't have a car. I was like, I don't own a car. I need to get an Uber. I'd be putting other people's lives at risk if I was like, I can't go to the doctors. It's not possible. So I had this whole argument. And then like eventually I get out of that again. And then I get another jury summons. And this time I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. There's nothing coming up. I'm just going to go. It's fine. And then I'm at work and I go, fuck, I had jury duty today. Like, I just like forgot on the day it was. I literally intended to go. And then it was like, I was at work. It was 10 o'clock at night. And then I realized, oh my God, I had jury duty today. And I don't know if you guys know this. If you don't show up to jury duty, like no call, no show, like there's a possibility you can get like a crazy fine, like a fucking $500,000 fine or something crazy like that.
They
can give you like a couple months in prison. Like they can just give you random shit for missing jury duty.
So I don't know if I told this story, but when I had jury duty last year, I actually forgot I had jury duty and I didn't go. I literally just forgot.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go. And I realized like 3 days later, like, oh shit, I was supposed to go to jury duty this week. And so I was like, I don't know what happened. So all my coworkers were making fun of me like, oh shit, you might go to jail. And then I Googled, because they were freaking me out. I Googled what happens when you don't go to jury duty. And it did say, like Kenny said, $5,000 fine, all these other things. And one of them was like, or possibly imprisonment for a week. And I was like, well, I just want you guys to know, I can't do any amount of jail time. like there is no amount of jail time that I could. So then I got extremely nervous. But then when I got home that day, I remember seeing a jury duty summons that all the letters were written in red. Like when I saw it on my steps, literally the entire summons, like everything that says like address to Frazier, it was all in red. So I knew exactly what time it was. And it was like, you failed to report to jury duty on XXXXX date. This is against the law. And you are now required to show up on this date. And if you fail to do it this time, you will face these consequences. And it listed them. And it was like $5,000 fine, something else, in prison for 7 days to 12 days. And I was like, okay, I will be there 100%. Then I like went out of my way to set 18 different reminders and alarms that I have jury duty on this day. Cause I was like, I cannot do time, bro.
Yeah, so similar thing. I ended up missing it for like a third time. And like this last time was actually an accident. Like this last time was an actual accident.
Fucking white
and then
privilege,
I remember calling him.
That third time is crazy.
Bro, but listen, I had excuses the other time. But then I call him, and then it's like the next day, and I'm like, yo, listen, and I explained the whole situation to him. I was like, I swear to God, I was like, I know if you look at my name, it looks crazy because I was sick the last 2 times and I didn't show up. And this time I just didn't. I was like, I know it sounds crazy, but I literally just forgot. I went to work. I was at work. I realized I missed it. And I'm talking to the guy. I was like, yo, please don't give me a fine. I was like, please don't give me a fine. I can't afford it. And then I'm talking to this guy and he's going through this whole process and he sets up a final date and he's like, listen, I got you. Nothing's going to happen. but if you don't show up this time, you're fucked. I was like, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there.
Like, count me in. You don't gotta worry about me. One thing you don't gotta worry about is me.
Is me. And then so I go, and basically this time when I go, I finally go again, and I basically just had the same experience Frazier just had. I'm in there all day. It's just fucking bullshit. Nothing's happening. I do get to go to lunch, but it's just like bullshit. You're just there for fucking hours on end. They did try to tell me at one point, so I bring my Nintendo Switch with me.
Yep.
I bring that shit with me everywhere. So at one point, they tried to tell me, hey, you got to turn your phone off. And I looked at the person like he was crazy.
Yeah.
Because I was playing my Switch. And I just looked at him like he was all the way crazy. And I didn't say anything. And I was just like I looked down at my Switch, and I looked back at him, and I was just like, I shrugged my shoulders, and I was like, are you? And then he was like, all right, you're good. Because it was like, it just wasn't a phone.
Yeah.
Bro. It was like a fucking whole system.
Like, it's literally not a phone. I guess I could have brought my Switch, but I don't have anything that I really play on there. I would have to like literally go and find something to download to put on it.
Yeah.
But
that's why, I mean, Slay the Spire got so much money from me. I got Slay the Spire on my Switch. I got it on my phone. I got it on my computer. Slay the Spire got me.
Yeah.
They got me
and
everywhere.
because I'm working on my mobile devices, so like I guess my iPad, my phone, they all have a separate save file from my Steam file. I would want to continue to like grind on that one over, rather than starting over. But I get it. Like, it is a great game that I do not mind playing over and over and over again. But like, I'm making good progress and everything. Like, I've even streamed a couple times Slay the Spire runs that I did, because like I'm still on low ascensions with a lot of the characters, and it's super easy to just like go through and just chit chat, and just play a couple rounds. It is kind of annoying though playing on the iPad. Like, the way I did it, I had to make like a separate Discord account, so I have like a fake Discord. And then I'm like streaming it to myself
from a mobile device to your computer is unless
really,
somebody else
really
has figured out a way. But I do the same thing where
you're the one who I learned it from. I did not know. Like, I think I would have been able to figure out the methodology by just thinking about it, but because I knew you did it already, I was like, oh, I could just do that exact same method. But it is cumbersome, and it is not the best way to do anything. It's so jank for multiple reasons, but it is like the best we got as far as I know. I don't know if there's like some kind of OBS plugin that I can install on my iPad that will then capture directly from my iPad to my computer type thing. I'm sure that there's probably a USB cable that I can connect to the iPad to my computer that will then be able to let me select the screen of the iPad on OBS as like a thing, and then probably do that. But like, I genuinely don't know how to do all of that shit, so whatever. Yeah. Dude, yeah, that was Jury Duty. It fucking sucked. If you guys have Jury Duty experiences, I would love to hear them in listener letters, because today we are actually here to talk about some of these listener letters that we have sitting in our inbox. We didn't get to finish them weeks ago. So I'm going to read the first one now. And by the way, if you want us to read your listener letter aloud on the show, just write into imnerdpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that is imnerdpodcast@gmail.com. So this first one comes from Austin Cruz. As always, he's one of the #1 writers in our inbox, probably is the #1 writer actually to the IMNerd podcast. So Austin, you are responsible for creating several episodes of the IMNerd podcast now, because we've been doing this for 4 years. Yeah, you think about it, right? Like, Austin by himself is responsible for a lot of the episodes of the IMNerd podcast, if you just consider the amount of time we spent talking on just his letters alone. So we appreciate you, King. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This one is on rule changes for Time Wizard. It says, so my 2 cents about the whole situation. And by the way, this listener letter is dated June 10th, 2025. So this is literally 3 months old now. But basically, this is during the time when we had all the uncertainty with Konami, what they were doing with like Nationals and Time Wizard and time travel and erratas and all that bullshit. Now we're past that now. Konami clearly has made their stake that they're just doing whatever the fuck. Currently, there's no anything. There's no ultimate time travel or Time Wizard. The last YCS that just happened in Vancouver in Canada over this past weekend, apparently they were like, we got cooked. We got nothing. And what's crazy is that Vancouver was the last YCS before Ultimate Time Wizard started in 2023. So like, basically what I'm saying is, in 2023, YCS Vancouver happened. The next event, Ultimate Time Wizard, started as a thing. 2 years later, YCS Vancouver happens again in 2025, which is where we are right now. But now Konami has ended Ultimate Time Wizard essentially, so they didn't get it right. They didn't get it twice.
It's crazy. It's crazy that they killed their thing though too, right? Normally, if a tournament or whatever dies, it's because like entrants fall off.
Yes,
so, like
it was
Ultimate
growing.
Time Wizard was doing well. It was growing. It was getting bigger, and I'm sure. Once again, I know we've talked about this before. They don't necessarily make money on the events or whatever, but like it was still growing, and it's still like more revenue than less revenue or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, even if they don't make a lot of money from it, it's still more.
You know what's funny though? So Ultimate Time Wizard, so they don't really make money from the main event. I think Ultimate Time Wizard, they kind of do make money only because One, they're not giving nearly as much prizing as they do for the main event. The main event, you get like, there's gaming systems being given out. Like you get the OLED Switch, or now you get a Steam Deck, I'm pretty sure. You get like the whatever new Steam Deck thing is. You get all of these prizes, right? You get way more for main event stuff in terms of like the number of things that Konami has to give you. Whereas we just get a giant card and 2 oversized cards, and that is it. So the prizing is easier to dish out. Value of the prizing doesn't matter. There was a point in time when I won, the prize that I got, the JD that was valued at $6K, was more than the guy who won the same main event. Like the guy who won YCS Indianapolis's main event got like Silverman was like, he might get $3K if he sold everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I just literally got 6. So
but the value of the prizing isn't equivalent to like what that price is on Konami's end. Konami just prints the fucking card.
Exactly. Like, so, but my other point is, and this is something I thought about when I went to Nationals the very first time in 2023 to play Yu-Gi-Oh! We had to pay $25 because it's considered a side event, right? And that event had 300 players. The very first Ultimate Time Wizard. It was 300 players, and it was supposed to be capped at 256. So immediately, the very first Ultimate Time Wizard, they found out there was more demand than we ever thought. They never thought that they would get over 256 people for this thing because they kept it at 256 and was like, you know what, we'll put a cap on it. We probably won't hit that anyway. They ended up blowing that cap out the water, and you ended up getting 44 more people than you thought. So the first ever one goes over the cap. So already demand is high. But then on top of that, they give out the prizes. Everything is great. So Ultimate Time Wizard is thriving. We're paying $25 to play in the event. And I realized, I was like, wait, where are Nationals? All the people, and there was 3,000 people in 2023 at Nationals. I was like, all the people here that are playing at Nationals, you don't pay for Nationals. Nationals is the one tournament every year that Konami throws.
It's an invite.
All you need to play in Nationals is an invite. It's the like YCS, you have to pay $25. Regionals, you have to pay $25. Every event you go to, you have to pay money. Nationals is the one event every year where you do not pay money. So when we were there, I was like, yo, you realize that the 300 of us are the only people who are we're paying to play Yu-Gi-Oh! This weekend, basically. It's kind of funny. So they are making money off of something that would not have made money. Usually on a Nationals week, they don't make really any money outside of side events, technically, right? And that's what we are considered. So like that is the only time where you could say like, oh, they are making money they normally would not have because 300 people are paying X amount of money to play in this. But again, it is a drop in the bucket to what we're talking about, $1 billion company. Konami is responsible to the pachinko machines and like everywhere, all the slot machines.
In the bucket, but it was still getting bigger. It was causing good faith in the community. At least for that part of the community.
Yes.
I know Modern has like their ups and downs and their beefs and whatever, but for a portion of the Konami community, it was causing good faith. People were spending money. It was a good look for Konami. So it's funny that like they did the rule change. We didn't get to the rest of Austin Cruz's email. We'll get to it in one moment. Regardless of what he's about to say, the truth of the matter is they did this rule change, and all that rule change actually did was kill the event altogether because they haven't had a fucking event.
They have not. They have not run a time travel event yet. That has not happened. So
like, what the fuck?
So back to his letter, it says, so my 2 cents about the whole situation, and I understand both sides of the situation. I didn't know about Master Duel having Edison, but that didn't change my thoughts about it too much. Now, my first regional was during actual Edison format, so it does have a special place for me. Even beat my first bigger name player as well. I get why players are mad because it does change the format completely and doesn't show a true glimpse of how it was played. It makes cards worse than the reason why they were hit. Also, they could have waited a year and bought back Goyo without Nirada, and I doubt it would have even been played. Greed aside, I think this change was inevitable, albeit a bit early. They should have waited a bit longer before this change, but it was going to happen regardless. The grassroots players will still have their tournaments with the better prize support. It's funny because this letter was written 3 months ago. Kenny and I just successfully threw a 1K, which has amazing pricing for an online event that was only like $10 to play in. And we got 80 players, and you do the math, like 80 people times 10 is like $800 basically. So we were able to give out $1,000 in pricing, which was awesome. And shout out to everybody who played in that. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting us at the party member tier or higher. And shout out to everyone who's on our Patreon in general. We also crushed we reached our goal of over 200 Patreon members as well, which is really cool.
Thank you so fucking much for that, by the way.
Yes.
I'm so happy we reached 200 patrons, and I want that to keep going up. And it's just super hype. It's super exciting, and it's really fucking fun to run those bigger tournaments, and we want to run more of them, and that becomes easier and easier to do the more patrons we have, because it's, we
have to fund it, and we want to give out prizing. Like, we could just run, we could do what the other tournaments do, where like we don't give you anything except like an invite or something. Like, we could literally just be like, here's a tournament, you can play in it, but it literally doesn't have like physical prizing. Like there's no you feel like you win, but you don't feel any sense of accomplishment other than being like, hey, I won this tournament, but like you don't get anything else. I want people to actually.
We need those tournaments in the grassroots community.
They are needed too,
but they exist, and people are doing a great job running them. So when we run a tournament, we want to be like, okay, here's like here's just something else. It just makes it different. It doesn't make us better than anybody else.
Right.
It's just like, hey, they're doing a great job doing what they're doing already. We want to run big tournaments and get people excited. Hey, here's a fucking 1K. Bang, get excited, enter, play your fucking heart out.
Yeah. And it was really awesome doing that. So this is written 3 months before we even have our 1K. And so he says here, agree to side, I think this change was inevitable, albeit a bit early. They should have waited a bit longer before this change, but it was going to happen regardless. The grassroots players will still have their tournaments with the better prize support. Those same players won't be around the scene forever. This change will make it so you don't need outside help to play or judge previous formats. Too long didn't read, inevitable change that happened too early. So I don't know if this change was needed at all. So I kind of disagree with you on that point, Austin, because they could have just kept doing what they were doing. It was perfectly fine. Yeah. The excuse that it's so hard to find judges or people to like know the rules of retro format is such a bad excuse because Edison happens to be the
specifically for Edison.
Specifically,
like, maybe that's
Edison.
True for the other formats, but for Edison, that is not true.
For Edison specifically, I just went over this last night on stream. Edison has the most robust rulings pages and judges and people who are willing to answer every possible question and scenario you could come up with than any other format in the history of all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm talking about Modern. I'm talking about GOATs. Yep. Edison has the most resources to get things right. There is actually no excuse for anyone to say we can't get things right for Edison, and therefore that's one of the reasons that contributes to like
you barely need a judge. Like we can just like if I'm playing you, we can be like, yo, we can just Google it.
Yes,
like,
you can literally go on edisonformat.com, edisonformat.net, format library. There are so many resources. You can even ask people in the Discord server, and they're like not just anyone, obviously, but like actual people who are considered. They have the judge role in these servers, these really popular servers that have thousands upon thousands of people, and they run so many tournaments, and they're known for having judges that know all the rulings. They've codified everything. Like, again, there's just no excuse from that standpoint. So you can't say, oh, it's because judges are having a hard time doing it. That is bullshit. It can't be a money thing either, because if that's the case, all of Yu-Gi-Oh! In person is a sink, like is a cash sink. Like it's just a fucking. So that's not an excuse either.
If they went like this, we're having a Edison format, Ultimate Time was it, whatever they want to call it. We're having this tournament. We need judges that know the Edison rulings.
Oh god.
If you enter the side event for the pod, you don't have to pay. Like you don't even got to pay them. Like if you just said that, you probably don't even got to say that. If you just said we need judges, people would fucking volunteer to do it anyway.
So I'll tell you this, because I know you don't know all the inner workings of judging for Konami. Back in the day, Konami, when you judge, because I judged for 10 years, back in the day, for the first like 8 years of me judging, they just paid you in packs
right?
And a stipend. Yeah. And so you would get like a $30 stipend for lunch, which this is now it's been several years since I've judged, and I judged for 10 years straight. So let's just say when I first started judging, which would have been like 2011, I never spent $30 on lunch, because we're talking about back then when food was way cheaper than it is right now. $30 on lunch was always crazy to me. So when I would get that stipend, I would be like, I'm spending literally half of this at Reading Terminal. I spent $15. I would get a crazy soul food platter from one of these insane spots in the Reading Terminal. Be super.
2011 goes hard for lunch.
That's what I'm saying. $15 is crazy. So I would get like a crazy platter and sides and a drink and everything for less than $15. Keep the other $15. Then at the end of the day, you would get like boxes or whatever of cards and of packs, and I would just get rid of them. And that, to me, that was worth it, because I wasn't judging just because I wanted the payout at the end of the day or the stipend or anything like that, obviously, because at this time I was already working as an accountant and I'm making way more money than they could ever pay me to judge. Judging was fun to me because it was a way for me to interact with Yu-Gi-Oh! Without the pressure of competing, which I really preferred. And I really, really enjoyed judging during the time that I did. But like, rulings have always been a thing that Konami judges, they could find. Eventually, they changed the payout system. And this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. The last 2 years of me judging, Konami faced some backlash, and I think that they might have even faced litigation, where they were not allowed anymore to just have a bunch of people judging events without paying them actual money. So my last 2 years of judging, we got like payments. Like, how many hours did you work today? They literally paid you the minimum wage of whatever city you're in, And because the way they did it at my TO did it anyway, my TO would just be like, everybody, we're going to just say you worked like 14 hours because regionals, the registration opens at like 8 a.m. And Philly regionals happen to be some of the longest in the entire country because they are huge. They're the second biggest next to Cali. The only regional that has ever been bigger than a Philly regional is a California regional. Philly has had literally 800 player regionals, and those are 10 rounds long. And you're there until literally like 11 p.m., especially before the new time rules, God forbid. Before the new time rules that were like end of phase, when you had to like do turns and all that, we would literally get out of judging. I remember me and Xavier and Silverman and everybody leaving and being like, yo, do you guys want to get food? And I'll be like, you know, everything's closed, right? Like it's fucking 1 a.m.
Yeah. It's you're just like, nah, bro.
Like there's nothing to get. It's 1 a.m. So we would get paid for some crazy amount of hours. Now, granted, it is minimum wage, and in Philadelphia, the minimum wage is actually atrocious. It's like $7.25 or something.
Yeah, and it's, by the way, that hasn't changed in like 25 years. Like,
yes. So the minimum wage is atrocious, but what I will say is that, you know, if you take 7 times 14 or whatever, it is like over $100. And for me personally, judging Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the easiest jobs that I've ever had to do. It doesn't feel like a job really at all to me because I just love the game so much. And
yeah, you were there anyway.
I was there anyway. So me just like walking around, answering people's questions, passing out result slips, collecting result slips. Sure, it is technically work, but it's one of those things that when you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like that. And then at the end of the day, when I get paid literally cash money, like $130, I'm like, you know what? This is actually pretty cool because this will pay for my lunch next week or something.
Yeah.
So you were saying they could literally give them nothing. So they can't do that, but...
So, I got a question though.
Okay, go ahead.
On that, because you might be right, but what if before they might have got in trouble because they were paying you, but they weren't really paying you? They were saying they were paying you in packs.
Yeah, they were paying you in.
If they change the wording to say like we're looking for volunteers,
that's what the litigation was about. You cannot do that. Apparently, we were all considered volunteers. When we were judging for those 8 years that I was judging, where they were paying us in packs and a stipend that just was like a lunch stipend thing or whatever, we were considered volunteers, which apparently because we were working full shifts, because if you judge a regional, you are working more than an 8-hour shift. First, let's just be like you're working more than an 8-hour shift, and that apparently there's like it's like against the law to do like to have like 20 people who are working for 12 hours and you're paying them in product and just being like, oh, like, thank you for volunteering. It's like, nah, y'all getting away with murder. You are literally getting labor because essentially we are laborers. Like they're getting around labor laws. And you know what the government really wants? When they pay us, they
want taxes.
Exactly. Yeah, when they pay us, if you pay us in product, there's no taxes with that.
Yeah.
So you're getting around. You're able to.
It's probably a tax write-off. They probably can make it a loss.
It's exactly that. It's literally a business expense at that point, right? You're literally so like instead of having to pay taxes on it, because now we become basically employees for that day or like independent contractors, but people who are literally being paid. And we have to pay taxes on that money technically, and Konami has to pay taxes on that money as well, because that's how it is. Whenever you employ someone, the company, pay taxes. For people who don't know, like every employee that you have, you pay taxes on that employee, and that employee pays taxes on their earnings. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, so obviously the government's like, you guys are getting away with murder doing this. You guys are like cutting us out, and it's clever because you're just giving away fucking packs of cards, which cost you really little to do, and yeah, you're not paying people money. So now we get paid actual money when we judge. I haven't judged in God knows how long, probably 5 years now, because I don't think I judged at all from the start of the pandemic until now. So it's been at least 5 years since I stopped judging. But yeah, they could still just give people minimum wage, and whatever state you're in, they can just do the minimum wage for that city, that state, and it would be fine.
Also, like, bro, for the Ultimate Time Wars side event, like, what do you need, 2 judges?
You don't need a lot.
Like, it's not like you need a lot of judges. Like, I know, for the main event, you're gonna need a lot of judges, but for the side event, so here's the thing. It's also a problem that somewhat solves itself. The longer you run this retro format, because the format's not evolving and you're not changing the rulings, ideally, right?
The
more it goes on, the less you even need judges.
Yep.
So eventually you could get away with just having like just a head judge for that thing.
Yeah.
And then for the most part, they can just, nobody says it out loud, but they can just fucking Google it.
Yeah.
They could just Google the
fucking. And that's honestly, if I'm being honest with you, Kenny, every time I've gotten into a ruling dispute in Edison, like in a tournament, a Konami event or whatever, usually me and my opponent will just edisonformat.com that shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of understood that like
it's not 2002 anymore. Like,
yeah,
you don't need a judge.
We just kind of like, okay, we can look this up and figure it out. Like, for example, one of the ones that happened recently, my opponent summoned Phantom of Chaos, copied Norlaris, and I had a dupe lock up. And he activated the effect of Phantom of Chaos that was turned into Norlaris, so it sent my whole field, which included those 2 dupe frogs, and it sent my hand to the graveyard. But Norlaris says, then you draw a card after you do that. Mm-hmm. So my opponent was like, so I was like, dupe effects, and I was grabbing 2
swaps. Like, you missed timing.
He was like, you missed timing, and I was like, I don't think I do. I think that's simultaneous. I think that you send all the cards and you draw a card. I think it's considered simultaneous. And he was like, really? And I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm right. So we both like obviously pulled out our phones and we looked it up, and it was like, and the people next to us was like, yeah, Frazier's right, but you guys should still look it up. And we looked it up and we both were like, okay, yeah, it does say that it is simultaneous. So my dupe frog effects do activate. Yeah. He was like, oh, that's kind of broken. I was like, that is kind of broken. And I just won because like,
and I just won
now I actually have more cards than you if you did that. Like you did that. Not only do I have Treeborn Frog coming back, but I got 2 frogs too.
Yep. Yeah, that's broken. That's actually so broken because now you just never do that. Like, Norlaris is just bad. Like now.
Yes,
like,
against frogs. Like I just set up a dupe block, and I know you're going to do this eventually, and I at least have something to fight with now. On top of the Treeborn Frog that's coming back, which is already, in my opinion, that's already like I don't want to do Norlaris if they have a Treeborn coming back anyway. But that's a whole different.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah, so that's the thing. I feel like for the most part, UTW can run itself. And then you only need a head judge, really, for like when you have the one opponent that's being an asshole. Like, no, the internet's not good enough. And
yes,
like, okay,
because you do get those people who are, like that. But whatever. Okay, so let's move on to the next listener letter. I remember this one is going to be really good. Quality of life.
This is quality of life, right?
And sleeping naked, yes.
Quality of life and sleeping naked. I already don't like where this is going. You guys know how I feel about sleeping naked. That shit's crazy.
Gas the mattress.
I don't know, bro. Exactly. No.
I just can't. It cannot. Anyway.
I know someone. Trigger warning, okay? But I know someone who sleeps that way. And like every other month, they'll tell me like, "Oh, I woke up and there was like some brown stuff on my sheets." You know what I mean? And like,
my God, bruh.
And like, they'll say they don't have an ass problem. I'm like, bro, your ass leaks.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. You just had this discussion with them recently.
I'm like, bro, your fucking ass leaks, bro. Like, I'm like, and he's like, no, it's normal. And he'll argue with you, like, oh, come on, you don't shit yourself at least once a year. Like, no, motherfucker, I don't shit myself once a year. This is crazy.
Yeah, you should not be waking up with shit stains on your sheets. That is so diabolical.
Absolutely diabolical. But anyway, I apologize, everybody. Listen. Austin says, I don't know how you wear so much to go to sleep. This is referring to Frazier, who goes to bed in like full fucking combat gear.
I'm fully clothed.
I've done that. It's not hard to do, but
like I just basketball shorts, a tank top, and socks. I know it sounds crazy, but I do typically sleep like that with basketball shorts, a tank top, and socks. But when I'm sleeping with someone, I can either sleep completely naked or with just underwear on and nothing else. I can do either one when I'm specifically with a person, but when I'm by myself, I do not like being stripped down. And I don't know why that is, but that's just how weird I am.
I'm always just boxers just because it gets too hot. Like, I just get too fucking hot, man. But anyway, he says, I'm from the South, so adding any piece of clothing ups the temperature so much. And I already have issues with body heat regulation. Plus, it just feels so restrictive when I'm trying to sleep. The only time I wear anything to bed are like Yu-Gi-Oh trips and stuff, like we're staying at hotels. Yep, of course, I've slept at many people's houses. You usually keep your clothes on. And that's
exactly. Yep. And as nerds, it is normal for nerds to spend the night and like have sleepovers, which is also why my body is used to sleeping in clothes, because when I stay over people's houses, I'm not getting naked. I'm not getting down to my underwear either at somebody else's house because I just don't feel comfortable doing that. What's up?
Frazier just sent me a PM. I guess this is for later. I guess maybe this is the name of the episode.
This is the name of the episode. So I just named the episode as we're talking. So I'm mad that Kenny's responding because I didn't mean for him to respond to this right now. I just named the episode right now as he's talking, and the episode title is going to be "A Streak on the Sheets."
Oh my God!
And it's literally related to like this situation. So
that's bad. But yeah, I'm super used to sleeping with clothes on for that exact same reason, being a nerd, going to different people's houses, etc.
Yep.
But also on the note of like it feeling restrictive, like especially when I'm not out. Yeah, I hate having the shirt on because there's so many times where I wake up and my shirt's like all twisted around my head and shit. Anyway, he says, before I get into the quality of life rant for Monster Hunter, we did a whole episode on quality of life, not just on Monster Hunter, just in general. I think it was one of my favorite episodes.
It was same for me.
You should get on just to hear how they pronounce Lagiacrus. I don't know if I said that correctly or not. I don't know how they say it in the game, but as far as quality of life of Monster Hunter, I agree. It is a bit much, especially for veteran hunters. But a lot of it feels kind of needed with how much they've expanded the game. If I'm not mistaken, you said you also start out on the PS2 game. The amount of experience you have with how much you play now is similar to how you are in Edison. Since you're also from a niche era of Monster Hunter, the quality of life changes will make it feel like easy mode. Rise still felt like the older games, challenge with good quality of life changes. The World Wilds definitely feels more like it's catered toward the Western audience. I just want to say that is true for Frazier, but I started with Rise. And I think the quality of life is too much.
Yeah, I think I want to jump in here too and just say this before I lose this point, because there's a whole paragraph after this. My complaint isn't that the game is easy mode necessarily with fighting monster difficulty. I don't care about that. I think there's nothing to work for. Our main point is that in Monster Hunter Wilds, there is nothing to work for. We were all done the game in a month. Every single person I know who played Monster Hunter Wilds and who was able to play it without oh, I have children, or I have a job that demands that I work 80 hours a week. Pretty much everyone who's able to play the game normally, at a normal rate, finished the game in an entire month, because you could just get everything that you wanted to get in a month, which is not good for a Monster Hunter game to have that low level of longevity.
The job I have, the way it's set up, I'm literally not in my house for essentially 4 days. I think it's 4 days and 3 nights or something. Or no, I forget what it is, but it's something like that. 3 days, but I'm not home at all. So there's entire days where I can't play the game at all. And I was able to just completely complete the game in less than a month, really. The rest of that month was me just pushing it because I love Monster Hunter so much and I wanted to keep playing it, even though the doubts in the back of my head had already started creeping. Hey, you're not having fun anymore. There's nothing to do. You're just fucking playing to play. And I was trying to force it, and it was just
Yeah, I was doing the exact same thing. And then that's when I realized there are entirely too many good games to play. It's not really just an issue of, oh, this game is easy. Because yes, the monsters are easy, except that fucking tempered Gore Magala is just out of control. Everything else was very easy. That's not even my complaint, honestly, because I knew that they would kick the difficulty up eventually. I knew that at some point, and I think right now, I've been seeing a lot of the stuff about Title Update 3 or 4 or whatever, and they just introduced...
I heard there is a confirmed Final Fantasy crossover coming.
I saw that, and that apparently the monster that you fight, I don't know what that is. It's a mech-looking thing. Apparently it is extremely hard in the Final Fantasy verse, so it's probably going to be just like the Extremith, as they called it. Behemoth was called Extremith by the community because it was that ridiculous. Apparently this is going to be really bad.
They should do something more... They should have did Bahamut. They should have did something everybody knows.
Why do I not know? I wasn't excited about this, and I didn't even bring it up to you. This is how you know I'm so and this is so sad to say, I'm so done with Monster Hunter Wild at this point.
But the thing is, it should have been hype because it's Final Fantasy Monster Hunter. If they just did a Final Fantasy monster that we knew, Behemoth again would have been fine.
I would have been fine with that.
Or if it was
Bahamut,
fucking Bahamut.
Kenny, I would have messaged you the second I saw the trailer days ago, by the way, and I didn't say a single thing to you because it wasn't interesting. Because it actually wasn't. I was like, well, I don't know what that is, and I don't think Kenny knows what that is either. I saw the mech, and I said, I genuinely don't think he knows what that is, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not even. That's not going to be enough to make me turn my fucking game on and say I want to. I'm not going out of my way to fight that.
What they need to do is they need to do a fucking a mid-tier monster. They should have did Ifrit as a mid-tier monster, and then Bahamut as a high they could have did some crazy shit, but I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, they kind of threw with this, but I just want to make sure my point is clear. The quality of life thing is not necessarily about, oh, I played since the beginning, so I'm good at Monster Hunter, so it's always going to seem easy to me. I know a lot of people make that point, and I think at that point is valid, that people who complain about the game being easy when they've been playing Monster Hunter their whole life almost, or they've played every installment of Monster Hunter, people like me, complaining about the difficulty of the game is a meme. My complaint is not about difficulty. It's about the fact that I fight a Rathalos twice, and I have literally everything I need to make his entire armor and a weapon. And that is just well, if I only need to fight Rathalos twice, and there's only 20 monsters at launch, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do, bro?
I also do think, just to kind of reiterate that, I do think what Frazier said is true in that, the better you get, the longer you played the game, the easier the game's going to feel. But they did, at least at the monster's HP was still just, low to the point where, part of Monster Hunter's a grindy game. And so the longer a hunt takes, so even it was just you get all the rewards really fast, but also the hunts are really short. So it's short on every single axis.
Every part of it is quick.
The hunt's not long. You get all the rewards quickly.
You're farming while a person in a village is just like collecting all the honey for you, and all the things like all your resource management is being done completely by AI at that point. You have AI doing all the resource management, and then you hunt, which is the primary part of the game is hunting, but the hunts are really short, and you get all the pieces because when you break parts, you just get pieces now. You don't even like in World, you at least pick them up off the ground. So in theory, you could miss them. And I have in the past missed some shinies, but like you could in theory miss them. In this game, if I break the horns on Ray Dowell, like I got Ray Dowell horns and Ray Dowell carapace or whatever it is. I don't, So
the quality of life is not the difficulty. I don't think for either of us that's really the case. It's more so a bunch of other things that also end up making the game easier. Aside from just the fight being hard, it makes it easier in like these other more esoteric ways.
You give us no reason to keep playing it. I'm supposed to want to grind. Me and Kenny are supposed to say, "Yo, do you want to fight this?" Like until we just get whatever.
Yeah,
like it should be hard to get certain things. Like certain drops should be difficult. Plates and rubies should be difficult to get. That instantly makes us have to grind more. And then you could make the monsters like a little bit more difficult or hit a little harder in high rank or whatever you want to do. That is welcome as well because people do need a challenge. At the end of the day, I'm fighting every monster with my fucking eyes closed. And like everyone else is also doing it too. Even the people who are beginners. Like the beginners are also doing it too. They're not struggling either.
It's also easy for the beginners in a way that is different from, let's say, Frazier. One of the points we made is that you literally have infinite health. Like you have infinite healing. Like you just you have a bunch of potions. You can teleport to your camp, get
the cat
10 more of your 1,000, and you could just keep getting more. And then like you have the cat if you're playing by yourself. So
yeah, it's a lot. But
anyway, next paragraph he says, I can understand why they've added some quality of life, like the extra weapon, being able to go back to your tent and restock. In Wilds especially, it feels like they wanted you to stay out and explore the wilderness. However, on hunts, that change makes it much easier. The gameplay and fluidity of the weapons does feel good in Wilds, which has probably kept me with it. And also, I've never stuck with an entry point prior to G rank once I beat it for once. I wanted to try and give it a shot and stay with an entry until G rank. There were a lot of times I would have to go back and hunt earlier stuff and make weapons for certain trees, where if I stayed with it, I'd probably have more than enough materials for my hunts. Plus, I never found anything lower than G rank all that difficult in World. I remember a lot of my friends newer to the series were having the team up to beat Anjanath when I cleared it solo first try. At this point, I'm just keeping my skills from dulling. I play other games as well, which I'll pause those to rush the event quest. And get back to the other game I was playing. Overall, I think it's actually a good entry. But I don't know for sure once it gets to G rank.
So
go ahead.
You can start.
Yeah, I was going to say, so this kind of wraps up some of what we were already saying. All quality of life is not bad. There's a lot of quality of life that I think is really cool. I think the weapon swapping between two weapons is like actually really cool and fun. But I do fundamentally kind of disagree with being able to just go to your tent and have access to all of your inventory at any given time.
Yeah,
just because.
And I think that this weapon swap thing is a little janky, if I'm being honest. So conceptually, weapon swapping is cool, and I like where they're going, but this is obviously the first time they've ever allowed something like this. It is not worked out correctly yet. The biggest issue is weapon swapping needs to make sense. I'm a person who uses both range weapons and up-close melee weapons, right? Unfortunately, armor sets are not made to be used for both. So if I'm using a charge blade, which is a weapon that I love using, and I want to switch to a light bow gun, like there's no way the armor skills on the charge blade set make sense for the light bow gun, which means that I'm actually really locked into using similar weapons that can use the same skills, like focus can be used on both the charge blade and the greatsword. Mm-hmm. So I can switch between those weapons and have the same armor set, and it could work out. Like sharpness +1 still works on, whatever. Well, handicraft works on like both of them, and focus can work on both of them, and stuff like that. Like I have to make it make sense. Crit eye, crit boost, maximum might, whatever, right? You can make that stuff work. But if I want to do what I really want to do, which is I want to be able to say, oh, that's a flying creature. Let me get on my sacred real quick and then switch to a light bow gun and then shoot it because it's better to shoot this monster. Like the Harambe thing, that fucking thing stays in the air the whole time. I can't stand that thing. And if I'm using a longsword, I would definitely want to switch to a light bow gun or a bow and shoot it out the air. But
I said Harambe and I thought you meant Araja Khan, and then I realized you were talking about the fucking the
Harambe,
the flying leech thing.
It's like a literal flag. Like literally a flag from old times hanging on the ceiling. Like they literally hang from the ceiling and they're like flat I don't know what the hell those things are. I hate them. It's the ice creature. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be like a variation of a leech or whatever. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But at first, when you said Harambe, I just assumed you were talking about Arajakan because of gorilla. And then I realized you said it's in the air the whole time, and I was like, well, he's not talking about the gorilla.
Yeah, I think it's called Harambe officially. Like that was I don't know. It's been
whatever
a while.
It is.
On the last line here, though, you said overall, I think it's a good entry. I agree. Like, I think that Monster Hunter Wilds is a good game. I just think that there is no reason to play it past a month. And that good, there are plenty of good games that only have lasted a month of my life, but I still acknowledge this was a good game. Yeah. Like, I played Bravely Default 2nd before Monster Hunter Rise came out, and I literally had a month to play that game. Like, we played it in February, and Rise came out right after we got done playing it, which was like a month later. So, and I love that game. Like, I still have fond memories of Bravely Default 2 or 2nd or whatever. And it was a month of my life, and I never went back to it. And I don't really necessarily have to, because I did what I wanted to do. I enjoyed it. I beat it. And it lasted for a month. I don't think Monster Hunter is supposed... I don't think Capcom wants us to only play their game for that amount of time.
So that's the thing. And I agree with you. Don't get it twisted. When I played Monster Hunter Wilds, almost every waking moment until like the tail end of it, when I was kind of like almost forcing myself to play.
Yeah.
But before that, I was having fun at every single moment. I loved everything about the game. I was loving everything. I was having a ton of fun. It was awesome. So it's a good game in that right. For that amount of time I played it, it was fucking incredible. All aces. The problem is part of that fun, part of that excitement while I was playing it, was also being like, oh my God, we're playing this game for fucking 7 months.
Yep.
Like in my head, it was
that's what I thought too.
Thinking about all the cool things I'm still going to be doing and the things that I can't wait to do and that I'm excited to do. And like, I wanted to keep playing the game for 7 months and not be tired of it. I wanted to come home from work 4 months later and be like, just load up the game and live in the
I'm
world.
already on and I'm like, yo, I'm glad you're home. Like, let's hunt.
Yeah. And it's that's not what I got. So for that month, like Frazier said, the game is great, but it's not what I thought I was going to get from Monster Hunter. There's a game that you're expecting to grind and fucking live in. Like I was expecting to play that game like an MMO. Like it was going to be my Maple Story. You know what I mean?
Me too.
So.
I literally thought it was about to be that, and it just wasn't that. And that's my biggest gripe with it, is that it's just not enough replayability on launch anyway. Now, I don't know where the game is now. I know that they've added Seregios, they've added Logia Crews, they've added a bunch of monsters. I don't even know all the monsters that they've added, I'm sure. But they've added monsters to the game, and I assume that they're going to add more. There's that Final Fantasy collab that is coming out. They're going to keep doing stuff for it. I guess my other big problem, and this is just with the gaming industry in general, I just feel like stop releasing these fucking games when they don't have enough content to warrant them being released yet. I don't care about the business side of it. I always try to take the business side of everything as devil's advocate, but I'm tired of doing that, bro, because the gaming industry is just so bullshit with releasing these half-baked games. One of my favorite things about the recent games that I've played, Ocarina of Time, The Last of Us, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok, all of those games, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is in there. I haven't finished it yet, but that's in there as well. All of the games that I've been playing outside of Wilds, they felt like complete games. I did not feel like when I was playing them and I finished them, and every single one that I just named, I finished except Rebirth. I didn't feel like, damn, this game is just not done. And when I played Wilds, I just felt like the roster was so small and they weren't releasing monsters fast enough to make me be like, hey, I need to keep coming back to this game.
Funny, I think it's because Final Fantasy Rebirth has no updates. Like, there's no updates. There's no DLC to that game. There's no DLC updates, anything to Rebirth. And I feel like Rebirth has more content than Monster Hunter Wilds.
I'm pretty sure it does.
I played the fuck out of Rebirth. Like, I played it when I was done Rebirth. Like when I was done Rebirth, I was like, well, first of all, I still haven't done everything in Rebirth.
Right.
I'm gonna go back to it. But like when I was done Rebirth and did almost everything, I really felt like, man, I played a lot of game. Yeah. Like there was a lot of game that fucking happened here.
Yeah, like those Shulk games. What's that called? The Shulk games? The games that have Shulk in it? Or Shulk is in the first
Xenoblade.
one? The Xenoblade games I've heard are also robust as fuck.
They're super dude. Xenoblade 1, I think, has like fucking 500 side quests in it.
Yeah, like it's super robust.
Huge games.
Yeah, so you wouldn't say when you play a Xenoblade game that you felt like it was unfinished or that it didn't have enough content.
No, when you get to if you are like me and where like if you see a side quest, you have to do a side quest because I'm OD like that. If you play the game that way, by the time you get to the end of Xenoblade, you're ready to end the game. You're like, okay, I'm ready for this game to end.
That's how I was playing Rebirth. Every area, Because, in every area, you have all of these things that you can do. It's like you go to this tower, you go here, you do this, then it's just Chocobo Park. Like, I would make sure that before I moved over to the Junon area or whatever, I would not move on until every single thing on my map is complete. Like, you could see it when I open my map, you could see every single possible thing in the Junon area is done. There's not a single thing I could do here past what is on this map now. That's how I play the game, and that's how I typically do play RPGs like that have a very blatant script for me to follow like that, like a side quest script. Some games are more obscure with it, where you just kind of might stumble into a side quest, so you don't really know like all of them, so you might miss them because you just don't know. But in games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they give you the roadmap. Like, here's all of them. You can do them or not, which I actually like that methodology. You put this content in the game.
Yeah.
I like knowing that these are side quests that you can do at any point, or you can just, if you go here, you will go to the story. Like, the story will continue.
So, yeah, that's an interesting, like, side point. And I just want to touch on, I know that, but like, I do like it in Rebirth because there's a pro and a con to it for me. I like it in Rebirth because of how much game is in Rebirth, that even with a roadmap, it still takes a really long time to do it all. So I appreciate the roadmap in Rebirth because there's so much to fucking do.
Yep.
The downside to it, though, is sometimes it's like when you do everything in that area, there's literally nothing left to do.
Yep.
And you lose out on the mystique of, like, sometimes I want to run around an area and I want to hope to find something that you know what I mean? It's like,
I know what you mean.
But with this checklist, I know there's nothing left to find. I've done everything there is to do, and there's no more mystique.
For a person like me who is super type A and who likes things being scheduled and planned and organized, seeing a completed list gives me a dopamine rush like no other.
Oh, same. So that's the thing. I think it's good and I like it, especially for a big game like Rebirth. But there's a part of me that, and one day we should do a bigger conversation on this, especially as it relates to Pokemon. There's a part of me that misses old games, specifically Pokemon, because I think the new Pokemon games are pretty bad. But when I think about old Pokemon games, how there's like, you could just be exploring the world. Yeah. And one day you stumble upon a random cave that the game never takes you to. The story, nothing ever brings you to this cave. You just find this fucking cave. You go through this huge cave with all these puzzles. And at the end of the cave is a fucking ice bird.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that? And it's Articuno. And then, like, there's this random place that you go to a power plant and there's Zapdos. Like, these random mysteries that the game doesn't tell you about and you just happen to find them.
Yeah,
I love shit
that
like that.
Is amazing. And there are still games that are like that, because Clair Obscur is like that, as you know. Like, Clair Obscur, especially Act 3, is very open-ended, and you can do whatever you want. They don't tell you that you have to go and fight Clea or do Simon or any of that. You can choose to or not. You can just go straight to Renoir, and that could be what your experience is. And the same thing with, like, no, I never played it, but I still know a lot about it. Like Breath of the Wild, there's also not a set path that you have to go on to play that game. It's a really big world, and you can just choose to roam the world. And if you stumble upon this temple, you just end up doing this temple or whatever, and you get something at the end of it, and it's like, oh shit, that was fun. I did this. I solved the puzzles. I did whatever. But nothing made you go there. You just kind of found it one day by just roaming around, and it's like, oh shit, I just found this place. And I do like that. That is a style that games can be in, and there's also the style that Rebirth goes in, where they give you a checklist. And we've played many games like that have that like checklist system of, here's all the side quests, and you can choose to do them. Like, it's like it'll have a bulletin board in an RPG, and that'll be like their way of doing side quests. Like, if you go over to this bulletin board, there's gonna be a bunch of people who like, hey, this lady lost her cat, and then you go find a cat, and it's a fucking big ass monster and a cat staring at each other, and you got to fight the big monster, of course.
yeah, Rebirth is great. I fucking love it. But yeah, so game has a lot of content.
Okay, let's read the next one. So this one is on our podcast episode, Have You Ever Been Down Bad? So it says, as a kid, I never understood why teachers said if you're cheating in school, you're only cheating yourself. Now, as an adult, that's the biggest lie I've heard because it affects us all. I wasn't the best honor student, but I still made honors roll often and was also on the math team. I didn't like doing homework and did pretty decent on tests. I remember any research paper we wrote always have to keep a certain amount of sources, depending on length, and Wikipedia wasn't considered a reputable source for those papers. It irks me when the people who clearly don't do their own research tell you to do your own research. I got blocked by someone I went to school with during the pandemic because they made an anti-vax post. All I did was simply ask, didn't you copy my work in school? Oh, shit.
That's a fire line.
It is. There was no comeback because they did. However, there was no comeback because they did. So he's saying, like, yeah, they copied my work. So there was no comeback. However, I was caught cheating on a test in health class, but it was a drug test. Ironically, the only one I could pass now. The irony of having access to more information than we know what to do with has made us dumber as a society. It's easier to control the uneducated. So, I mean, you're very right. There's several things that you said in this listener letter about like teachers saying, the first thing you said was teachers saying if you cheat on a test, you're only cheating yourself. And when I was in school, there was no phones allowed and there was no AI chat GPT thing. And I brought this up before, but I have a friend who's been going through nursing school and med school and everything, right? And he uses chat GPT to do all of his papers and all his assignments. Like he literally sat right next to me with his MacBook out at dinner one time, and he blatantly chat GPT'd his entire 30-page paper that he was supposed to write. Chat GPT produced the paper. He read through it and edited it where it needed to be edited so it sounded more human and like it was his writing. But ChatGPT fully produced the paper in front of me, and he spent our dinner while we were eating at some mid-restaurant. He spent our dinner just like editing the paper, and then he said like, I have to wake up again and do more editing on this because it's 30 pages, so we still have to go through and read all of it and all that. But for the most part, he didn't write the paper. And then I see these memes coming out saying, just by the way, in like 20 years, all your doctors are going to be people who went through med school with ChatGPT. And so be ready for your doctor to leave the room and Google the answers to anything that you say to them because they genuinely don't know on their own. That is a reality, and I'm actually experiencing it with a friend. Now, shout out to him. He's my friend. Love him to death. But I'm seeing it. Like, I'm literally seeing the whole the thing of like, oh, if you cheat yourself, if you cheat on a test, you're only cheating yourself type of thing. I don't know what the long-term consequences are going to be because I can't predict the future. If I would be super rich. I can't predict the future of how AI is going to impact the education system or people getting degrees and people taking on professions that typically require you to really know what you're doing and talking about when they can just kind of like BS through it. Now, granted, with med people, they do have to do residencies and stuff like that where they are blatantly hands-on at that point.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're not even researching whatever the medical subject is at all, like he's not reading, he's not doing anything. He's just saying, okay, my paper needs to be about this topic, and I'm going to give the prompt to ChatGPT, and it's going to spit out a 30-page paper, and I'm just going to read it and edit it. He's not actually really learning this material. And so it's really interesting, like how that's going to impact the world. I'm not sure of how it's going to do it because maybe with AI, we won't need to know specific things about fields like that because robots and androids or whatever will take over for that type of stuff. Like they did say that doctors may just become robots in the future.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
I do want to comment on the I agree and disagree with the first point here about like the cheating in schools. You're only cheating yourself, and it's a big lie or whatever. So like I do kind of get that, but there's a little bit of pushback I have for that. So for example, like what I'll use is a funny joke people say is like I remember my teacher said like, you know, you got to learn math because you'll never have a calculator in your pocket. And it's like, that was a fucking lie.
That was such a lie.
But
yo, that aged so fucking bad, bro.
It aged so bad. But there's a point there. And the thing is, like, I think that a lot of our teachers, and maybe if they got paid more, maybe it'd be better. I don't know. But I think the lesson they're trying to teach you, they go about teaching you the wrong way. Because I see this with like other people that I know that don't understand math.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm not good at math, and what I mean by that is that I can't do big math in my head, right?
Yeah.
The way like Frazier can, or I don't even know, but I know Frazier can do math in his head better than I can.
Yes.
I do math literally on my finger,
Yep.
but I know how to do all math. Like, there's no math you can give me that I won't know how to do. I know how to do it. Well, I mean, I don't know how to do trigonometry, but I could figure it out.
Yeah, it's honestly not that difficult, to be honest. Sine, cosine, tangent, it's not that bad.
Yeah, but like normal real math that people like really are applicable in
practical
everyday
math.
life. Practical math. I know how to do all of it. I just use my fingers to do it. The point I'm getting to, though, is that I'm seeing a lot of people that they don't even really understand math. Like, they don't understand that multiplication is comparing two groups of things.
Yes.
Like, multiplication isn't just like made up numbers for fun of making up numbers. It is like taking a group and then how many of this group do you have? Like, it is an actual practical thing. And there's a lot of people that don't understand it. So I guess my point is that, like, it's not that maybe you'll never have a calculator, because having a calculator can make it super easy to do the math. But I do think there's value and mentally understanding what it is that you're doing.
There is.
And not just relying on the calculator.
And especially, I'm glad you chose math as the basis to prove your argument, because I agree. I think that I've met a lot of people who say like, oh, I hate math, I'm not good with math, and they just pull their phone out and they do all of it. And honestly, for most situations, practically, you will be able to do that. But teachers are trying to say that there may come a time where you don't have the easy option, and this doesn't just necessarily mean math specifically, it could be anything. You might not be able to Google something. Like there was a time where me and Kenny would argue and we couldn't Google in the moment because that just wasn't the world we lived in at the time. Like we met each other before Google everything was, it was the beginning of that. But like if you were arguing with somebody, it wasn't just like immediately Google it, which is what it is now. Like if you're arguing with somebody now, it's just like immediately Google it basically, right? So you kind of had to know things is what I'm saying. There was a time where you actually had to know, you just had to know shit. And I think what teachers are trying to instill into you is like, you should just know some things just to be like a well-rounded person, because you never know what you might need for survivability, or in certain situations, your phone could die. Phones die. Like they die. For all we know, our government could EMP us, and we just don't have fucking phones anymore, right? Like, or there could be nuclear war, something that happens where, maybe you survive, and if you just don't know how to do anything without the aid of a computer or a device that does it for you, you are less well off than people who do. What's interesting about math, and this is one of the things I love, you don't understand this until you do it over and over and over again. Like you mentioned multiplication. And it's so interesting that when you do math a lot, you start to realize that there's a relationship between multiplication and division. And when you take 3 times 4 equals 12, right? So 3 times 4 is 12, fact. But then you can also, those 3 numbers, 12, the 3, and the 4, they relate to each other, because if you take 12 and divide it by 3, you get 4. And if you take 12 and divide it by 4, you get 3. And if you times 3 times 4, you get 12. And so like, as I've done math for almost all my life now, over and over and over again, and I'm an accountant, so I actually use math in my like job life, and then I play Yu-Gi-Oh as my hobby, my main hobby, so I'm doing math constantly there too, and I'm just doing a lot of math all the time in my life. I now have like this brain that looks at numbers and just sees these other relationships that they have because I've just been doing it so long, and it just like makes me think sharper and faster and better than a lot of other people who just cannot do the same thing. Like I consider myself to be an intellectual person. I think that like I am an intellectual person, not only because I'm educated, but because I was born in a world before computers did everything for us.
And another really good example for this is one of the reasons why I chose math for this example is there was a point in time when now listen, I love Terrence Howard, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard, incredible fucking actor. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. He has amazing passion, his delivery. As an actor, he's incredible. As a mathematician scientist, he's an idiot. I don't know if you guys are aware of, like, there was an era of the internet, like, last year where he was, like, everywhere and he was on every podcast.
Yeah, just saying dumb shit.
People were like, he's a genius and he has this theory on science. I don't remember everything he said because it was almost all nonsense. But one of the things he was talking about was, like, in relation to math, and he was talking about multiplication. And I'm paraphrasing. I'm trying to remember something for, like, a year ago. But I believe he was talking about the argument of, like, anything times 0 is 0. And he was saying that doesn't make sense because you have one. He was like, 1 times 0 can't be 0 because you have one of it. Where did that number go? Like 10 times 0 can't be 0 because like you have 10 of it. Like where did it go? And what that is a breakdown, a misunderstanding of what multiplication is doing.
Yes.
Like that's just not understanding what the tool of multiplication is doing. The numbers didn't go anywhere. It's like they're just not there. Like they just were never, because there's just 0. Like there's nothing there. If you're saying I have, 5 boxes of 10 apples, then there's nothing there. So if you have 0 boxes of, 10 apples, like there's no apples. Like, I don't know, like there's 0, like there's just 0. There's none. But it's, it's comparing groups. I don't know. It's just funny. But if you have like a breakdown of understanding what math is, then yeah, I don't know. You can be misinformed, which what the end of this listener letter gets to is that we have such an overload of information. We have such extreme access to information now, which I do think is true, that now there's so much information that most of the information you get is probably misinformation.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. Misinformation or information that you really don't need. And I do think that there is a limit to how much the brain can hold. This is a fear of mine because, again, I don't overtly try to toot my own horn about this, but again, I do think I am an intellectual. I fear overloading my brain with nonsense and then forgetting the things that actually mean something to me. And so one of the things that I am cautious of is I get sent a lot of reels and I get sent a lot of Twitter and other nonsense from just like my actual friends throughout the day or throughout the week. And I
ignore a lot of those.
I ignore so many things that I get sent in a day. Like in a day, I get sent a lot of media, and it basically is other people's sense of humor, which I don't always have the same sense of humor with some of my friends, which is fine.
Yeah.
We are friends for other reasons. Maybe sense of humor is not one of them. But a lot of things that people send me is things that I assume that they found funny because it's meant to be funny. Like it's not lost on me when I watch it, but I just stare at it. And I get absolutely nothing from it. And I've experienced it so many times in the last couple of years, especially during the pandemic, when everyone was just so much on their phone and on the computer. I experienced so much of being inundated by other people's sense of humor sent to you as reels and as memes and as things that I just had to realize, stop responding and just literally ignore it. Like literally don't even respond to it. Don't put a heart on it. Don't put a laughing face. Literally do nothing. And it's honestly been so much better for my mental health. And it's been better for me overall to just not inundate my own brain with nonsense that other people are enriching themselves with that I just do not care about. Like you found that funny. I do not.
I'm similar. I don't like scroll. Like every now and then I'll catch myself like scrolling shorts on YouTube. And it's one of the reasons why I go out of my way to have so many games on like my different devices on my phone and stuff, because it's my opinion. I could be wrong, but it's my opinion that like a game is so much more mentally engaging.
It is.
So if I'm just like mindlessly scrolling fucking TikTok, let's say, like none of that content is really going to make a meaningful impact on my brain or whatever. But if I instead go like, okay, I'm just going to play Slay the Spire, like I'm engaging my brain in like this thing that I'm doing. And I feel like that's a lot healthier for me, even though I'm like still gaming. I could probably do something. I could probably be reading a thesis paper, but at the end, fuck it. I'm playing games.
Slay the Spire, and I just was talking about this in the beginning of this podcast with Jury Duty because I've been playing it again. So to me, at this point in my life, I need to make sure that my brain, is deteriorating naturally because I'm older and I'm getting older, and that's just what the brain does. And so I do have fears of like dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that way later, obviously in life. I'm too young for that right now. Even early onset Alzheimer's does not set in this early, but I make sure that I do things that stress my brain very often, the same way I train my body. Like I came from the gym today. I literally spent an hour and a half in the gym before this podcast. And when I got home, I had 15 minutes before we started recording this very episode. So I trained my body and then I also trained my brain. And one of the ways I train my brain, and I've realized that Slay the Spire is a great way to do this because one of the people that I look up to in the community, his name is Jorbs. He's one of the best players in the entire world. The way he thinks about Slay the Spire, I watch so many of his runs. I pretty much watch every video he puts up. I watch so many of his runs. I see him do turns that are so impressive to me in the way he understands when to use a potion. It'll be a non-elite fight, and he'll just look at the situation, and he'll just scroll up to the top, click, explosive potion. And I'm just like, damn, like, he just, like, makes decisions that I am not on his level, but I aspire to think like that. And even if I never achieve that level, I don't care. Because the point is that I am stressing my brain out and exercising it the same way I exercise my body for an hour and a half. When I watch his videos and when I actually try to execute those things, when I play the actual game itself, I am stressing my brain out and trying to solve puzzles over and over and over again, which I think leads to me just keeping it sharp. You want to sharpen, if you don't use it, you lose it, they say. You want to keep that tool sharp. It's like if I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! For extended periods of time, if I don't play frogs for extended periods of time, I start to get sloppy in my substitute combos and my sequencing. I just start to be like, damn, I messed up that like small thing that I know if I was playing and I play tested a little bit more, I would have did that turn either faster or just better overall. It was a little sloppy. I still ended up winning, but it was sloppy.
Yeah.
And that won't happen if I'm just sharpening the tool over and over and over again. So that it all means something to me to like actually go through the effort of sharpening the tool, the brain.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Is by Vincent Zen. It says the Attack on Titan finale re-listen. Howdy, y'all. I randomly decided to re-listen to this specific podcast because it's been a while since Attack on Titan ended. One nugget stood out to me about how at the end of the day, what really matters are the little moments in life, and hearing that helped me get back a sense of appreciation of what's around me. My current August goal is going to be to rewatch all of Death Note and Attack on Titan and make the decision for myself of what I think is the best anime of all time. Hopefully I could do it in about 20 days or so because grad school starts on the 25th. Okay, so we're reading this. You wrote this on July 31st. It is now August 20th. So I love that we're still currently in the month where this listener letter is like relevant because you're basically rewatching those two right now, I assume.
Yeah.
So I love that for you if you're actually doing that because those are two of the best. I actually have been listening to Death Note content while at the gym. So at the gym, when I get on the treadmill for an hour or a half hour, I always like to put on a YouTube video that talks about something that I love, whether it be God of War, Claire Obscure, Death Note, Attack on Titan, Naruto, One Piece. I just put on content from these channels that I don't even subscribe to, that now the algorithm, once you watch one of them, it just shows you a bunch of that person's videos now.
Yeah.
So I watch like one video is like, who was actually the smartest in Death Note, or what was Mellow's sacrifice? What did it really mean? How did Nier actually beat Light? Like these videos, whether I agree with their person's opinions or not, I love watching them because they make me think about things that I already love Death Note. No one can convince me not to like Death Note. No one can say anything about Death Note that'll ever make me think like, oh, Death Note's actually kind of mid in hindsight. Like, no, that'll never happen. So because I love it so much, I love hearing other people's perspective on said topic. And
then you start arguing with them on your own. Like you're fucking...
Yeah.
I do that all the time where I'll listen to a video and then that video will be over and then I'll start arguing with that person in my head. Like I'll start arguing with the things that they said. And yeah,
I have the same exact experiences. Like some things they'll say, I'll be like, I don't agree with that. Like I think Light actually was this, or I think L actually was this, or certain things I'll think about, and I'm like, that is a good counter argument to a common thing that people say about Light. Like Light had all the tools or whatever. People are like, oh well, like Light had 2 death gods and Misa and all this. And then like people would be like, well, if you actually paid attention to the story, like some of those things were not in his favor. They were actually a detriment to his character. Like Misa was a detriment to him. She did not actually help him. She actually fucked him over in multiple instances and made things worse for him. So it's like when you hear it from other people, it kind of helps you to realize like, oh, okay, this makes me understand the story better as a whole because I've only watched it so many times. I haven't watched it in however long, and just hearing these types of videos while I'm on the treadmill just like retrains my brain about things that, again, I love these things already. I already love Final Fantasy X. I already love Claire Obscure. So when I hear people talk about these things and it makes me understand whatever it is even more, I love that. And I love the idea of you rewatching these so that you can determine for yourself like what is your favorite anime of all time, which is also funny because that those are the top 2 for me as well. I'm not sure if that's because I'm not sure if your top 2 and my top 2 are the same because of you being inspired by me, or if it's just because you also have always felt like it was these 2, because those are the 2 for me that are like at number 1. And now there's a new one entering the chat, which is Free Ren. But Attack on Titan and Death Note solidly have those top 2, and Free Ren's like a 1A, like below them 1A, because Free Ren again is not over. And Death Note and Attack on Titan are both over, so I do not want to put it in the same category as those.
Yeah, but Free Ren might... if I get 2 or 3 more seasons of Free Ren and like it doesn't stop, even if it's not over, that shit it might be like
Free Ren is OD good. And it scares me how good it is, but yeah, I agree with you, Kenny. Okay, so let me continue the letter. Anyways, towards the end of the podcast, I was thinking about how great 2024 was for anime just from Attack on Titan's ending. I'm pretty sure we got a lot of hype seasons 2 throughout that year, and this year doesn't come anywhere close in comparison. And on an Edison note, since the release of this podcast, Eric ruined this format by maining 2 DDVs, and now I imagine frogs are going to take a similar path and main decking at least a copy of Water Art. I just, but low key, I'm scared that frogs maining Water Art will become popularized and hand ripping / knowledge will happen as 66% of tournament runs. Thanks, Marcus Hayden, the freaking Chicago crew, shaking my head. Speaking of Chicago, that'll be the next big event I attend. Hope to see a lot of the IMNerd Discord there. So a couple things. So the 2024 anime thing, anime was really good. 2024, there was a lot that came out. Technically, Free Run came out last year. I didn't watch it until this year, but Free Run came out last year.
Yeah, Free Run came out in 2024. I think Solo Leveling Season 1 was 2024, right?
It was. It absolutely was, because this year we got the Crunchyroll Awards for 2024, which was Solo Leveling Season 1. But a lot of people speculated that it got judged based on Season 2 also. Because Free Run was obviously judged by just the one season of Free Run, which is 28 episodes though. And Solo Leveling was up against, so Solo Leveling Season 1 was up against Free Run Season 1. But because Solo Leveling Season 2 had a lot of hype moments and it was like super popular and it popped off in animation and a lot of fights, right? A lot of people were like, I low-key feel like the Crunchyroll Awards or whatever, the anime awards, we're not actually judging Solo Leveling Season 1 to Free Run Season 1. Because if you really look at those two together, it's kind of a curb stomp, honestly. Like, it's not really close. And in my opinion,
for me, it's still a curb stomp.
I think so too. But like, but I do get, based on hype, how Soul Leveling Season 2 incorporated with Season 1 would be considered over free run for some people, because there are people who do not.
If I can make an argument, okay, I'm not Solo Leveling it's hype. It's fucking hype. But was the last fight in free run not also absurdly hype?
It was insane. It was like free run versus free run.
The last fight in
free run versus free run
was so fucking crazy.
Is so OD.
It was so fucking hype.
Cannot tell you how absurd it was when she started doing chaos magic. There were pieces of glass flying around the fucking arena, and they had like dimensions in them, Kenny. Like there were pocket dimensions floating around them and lasers of energy. Crazy. And I was just thinking to myself, like, what the fuck is happening? Because that clone, as we know, was so cool about the way it was written. That clone can only do what Freerun can do. So that clone was doing shit that Freerun could do at will. At any point, Freerun could start doing that. What was it doing, bro? It created a fucking golem. What was that? Like, what was happening?
Because Freerun, I don't think Freerun gets enough credit for certain things. Because the whole point of Solo Leveling is like hype and aura farming, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it does it so much that like it monopolizes that conversation. You want to talk about aura farming? How about when they're on their way to like defeat this fucking monster that like puts people to sleep or whatever?
Yeah.
And then Freerun starts falling asleep, and they're like, she's like, wake me up when it's like time for me to kill it. And she's like, you'll only have like 5 seconds. She's like, that's enough time.
Yeah.
Like, she goes to sleep, she gets woken up, and it doesn't even take a whole second before like she wakes up and the thing's dead.
Yes.
And he like, bro.
She's also like, there's a special way you have to kill it. Attacking it straight on with magic will not do anything. It actually absorbs it. So like, it not only is a creature that puts her to sleep, as powerful as she is, but she only has a very small window to actually beat it. And she wakes up, instantly knows the situation, and fires off an attack that specifically is designed to trick it and backshot it and kill it. She is absurd, and I agree with you. Freerun aura farms on levels that honestly, like, Freerun the Slayer episode 10, like when they gave her that name, and she's floating in the air, and that fucking one demon is just like, what the fuck is going on, bro? Like, I do not like that Soul Leveling does monopolize the conversation when it comes to aura farming, because it truly is disingenuous.
She aura farms, bro, when she's fighting fucking, whatever the fuck her name is, the guillotine. Well, I think her name's Aura.
Yeah, her name is Aura the guillotine.
She fights, and she's talking about her aura, and she's like, you're really strong. You have the aura of 500 years. But you're looking at someone who's been alive for over 10,000, and like her fucking aura opens up. You see her actual fucking aura, and then she literally turns around and says like, Aura, kill yourself. And then,
you watched me watch that episode live. You saw my actual reaction. Kenny and I were about to record, and I said, well, I have like another episode of Freerun I want to finish before we do that. And so Kenny was like, you know what? I'm just going to like sit in while you watch it, if you don't mind sharing your screen. So I shared my screen. When I saw her say, Aura, kill yourself, I had an audible reaction to it, and so did Kenny. Kenny's reaction was to my reaction. I lost it. Like, Freerun has aura farming in spades, as well as hype moments and character development and a real story and everything. It is so outrageously well written that it really isn't a conversation with Attack on Titan and Death Note. But like, again, out of fairness, it is not a complete story yet. So I'm going to wait to compare it fully. I want to wait until it's done. But like Kenny said, if we get 3 more seasons of Freerun and it's on this same level, then like, I'm just gonna make the call. Like, I'm just gonna make the call.
Yeah, just like, all right. The jig is up.
Yeah, it is just so outrageously good. But I do love listening to just like a lot of conversations. So now that I'm in my older years, video essays, I'm starting to fall in love with video essays. And I never thought that I would be this person. I'm really enjoying them about things that I actually do enjoy.
Yeah, they're awesome. They when I first started doing content, that is the main kind of content I wanted to get into.
I still want to do this. I want to try my hand at it, but go ahead.
This is the main, that's like, in terms of all of the content I've ever done, video essays are number 1 on the list of content I want to do. The biggest bottleneck for me is the video editing.
Yes. I want an editor.
That is going to go along with it.
I want an editor so bad. for some of the Yu-Gi-Oh content that I want to create that would be video essay form, but I want somebody to then just take my voiceover and literally just add all of the background graphics for people to stare at while I talk. Because I think I am a charismatic and good public speaker. Like, I think that I have a charismatic way of speaking when I am speaking passionately about something, and when I speak knowingly about something. I think I'm good at it. I think it's actually one of my talents. I just need to slow down. Sometimes I speak really fast. But other than that, I think I'm a charismatic speaker. I think people like listening to my voice and what I'm saying. But when it comes to editing, that shit takes so much time to like go in editing software and add all the background shit to it. It is so time consuming. I can write out the script. I can do all of that. The editing part is where it's just so hard.
Yeah, it's rough. It is rough.
Okay, so we have
one more.
Yeah, one more.
So I'll read it. It's actually just a follow up to the previous one.
Yeah.
It says, follow up to the previous letter. I'm sure you guys noticed, but I just realized Attack on Titan ended in 2023, and it's almost been 2 years since then. P.S. I've been wanting to express how I miss the old podcast outro. The So Long Gay Bowser outro is legendary. Yeah, So Long Gay Bowser is legendary.
Yeah.
I bring it back every now and then, but not as often. But and, yeah, I'll do it today for you.
And the outro had to change musically because when we started uploading the podcast to YouTube, it started getting flagged as copyright. The outro that we used to use, the one that I really did like, and we also high key bought it, so I don't even know why YouTube started flagging it, but that was really annoying. So we switched the actual outro music on top of, like, you know, Kenny saying So Long Gay Bowser. Both of those things changed at some point, and I don't know, there's some changes that might come for the podcast in terms of YouTube stuff anyway, and I might be able to just go back to the old ending that we actually like intended to have, and that is kind of like iconic for the YouTube. So just be on the lookout for that. In terms of Attack on Titan ending in 2023, yeah, when Kenny and I were just like going through that last letter, I definitely was thinking to myself, I don't think Attack on Titan ended in 2024, but I was like, I'm not going to voice it. But I was pretty sure that it didn't end last year, just because 2024 is very fond to me. I always look at years in terms of what happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's kind of like my way to chronicleize my life. Like, it's just what I do. Like, I know in 2013 is Dragon Ruler format. I know that Nationals was in Chicago at the Navy Pier, and I know that Patrick Holman won. I know that Silverman went to Worlds that year. I just have so many things, and then things surrounding that as well. Like, people were playing Obelisk and Dragon Rulers. I remember getting the Dragon Rulers at a New York regional in the bumblefuck somewhere in New York. Not in New York that you think of, the suburbs of New York. There was a regional somewhere, and like I ended up getting the Dragon Ruler rares from that regional, and I was finally able to put my Mermail deck down, and like just all things that happened later that year. Like Hoban, then the ARG Circuit Series starts in 2013 as well that year. This is kind of how like I look at like 2014. I know was hat format, but then also Nationals, you know, everything. Like that's just how I do it. So 2024, I was like, well, I remember winning YCS Indies Ultimate Time Wizard. That was the big thing that happened for me last year, which was in June. Yeah. And I was like, Attack on Titan definitely did not happen anywhere around that event. Like, no, I didn't get Attack on Titan happening in 2024. So I did kind of realize that, but it was just like not worth mentioning because I knew what you meant anyway. Yeah.
We've had some good anime on this conversation. It's actually kind of funny. There's been a lot of talk like in the industry, I guess, like just different like industry heads, like animators, apparently talking about like the way like the West, like specifically I think America consumes anime has had like an impact on the anime that gets made. And some people have been like expressing their concerns that Americans tend to like the most popular anime that gets absorbed in America are usually the ones that are like just super hype, super aura farming,
right? And
like or just like isekai, like a lot of isekai, and it makes it so that a lot of companies just like churn out more isekai, and then so like there's less budget for like other anime that's telling more unique stories, you know, similar to Free Run or whatever.
That is a little unfortunate, actually.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some good isekai out there, but overall, it's not a genre I'm really fond of, mainly because of that exact reason. I feel like it's just churned out. There's 17 isekai every fucking season. There's an isekai about a vending machine. You know what I mean? It's like, yep. And I'm not making this up. There's literally, you can type it in on Google. If you type in anime, I was reincarnated as a vending machine, you will get that anime will show up. I don't know the exact title, but if you type that in, you'll find the anime I'm talking about. It's fucking crazy.
I've heard of it as well.
So, you know, we're going a little crazy on isekai. You know, we gotta mix it up.
And as popular as the genre is, I genuinely don't partake in it. Like the only one that I really was into was Mushoku Tensei. I watched half of season 1, or maybe a little bit more than half. I never went back to it, even though I did genuinely enjoy it. Never went back to it really for whatever reason. Kenny and I never end up doing the podcast on it, which I still one day want to do it. But like in terms of the isekai genre taking over like Japan and whatever, it just never happened for me personally. I just kind of overlook it, and then I end up falling into stuff like Freeren and Solo Leveling and things that are not literally the main character has been reincarnated into a world as the most powerful thing. Now, Solo Leveling is kind of an isekai in a way, if you really look at it, but like not Freeren at all.
It's Solo Leveling certainly in the genre. At the very least, it's like isekai adjacent.
It is isekai adjacent. The main character literally dies, and then he comes back as God. That is the the fact that I saw Kenny and Dom arguing about Goku versus fucking Sung Jin Woo this morning, I was like, okay, like he literally dies and comes back as God. And I don't know the manga, nor do I want to, but like I'm assuming that he just keeps getting stronger, because why wouldn't he? And he probably gets to the point where like literally God, literally God, right? Like I'm doing reality warping. I could end the earth type level shit, because that's just all the anime actually is. That's like literally what it is.
I don't know the manga. I'm just judging on what I've seen. And so far, I still got my boy. I still got the white hair. I still got the white hair on, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They stopped time. He didn't care that they stopped time. Okay. My man Hit was stopping time, and Goku was like, that's not enough.
Yeah.
I'm still Goku, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Goku.
I am also a person that I just typically do not like having Dragon Ball characters fighting other anime characters. I'm aware that Dragon Ball characters can lose to some other verse characters, some other anime characters, but for the most part, they pretty much spite every other versus characters. So it's like it's usually a dull argument to have like Goku versus Luffy is such a nothing sandwich to me.
It could be pretty uninteresting, because if in general, usually the only characters that can actually beat Dragon Ball Z characters in fights are characters that don't fight.
Yes.
They're like characters that are like, well, they can rewrite the universe.
Right,
like,
right.
All right, sure. Well, they're not fighting. Like, I'm talking about like motherfuckers getting in the ring and fighting.
Yeah, like I understand.
They met at the world tournament and they fought. Not like, oh, I rewrote the universe and I killed you when you were a baby. Like, sure.
Right. Okay, like I'm not putting Freeren against fucking Gohan. Like it's not like there's no reason for that. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason to be like, oh, like Freeren scales to Gohan. Like, no. Stop doing that. So that type of thing is just like a waste of time for me. And it honestly, it's been like this since I've been a kid. Like I've never seen an anime really that close. I think Bleach was like one of the closest ones when I was a kid. Like I was like, oh, these Bleach characters are actually pretty fucking powerful what they're doing. But even Bleach is not on Dragon Ball's level of power. So it's like,
I love doing like comparisons and talking about who would win, but I also tend to like not enjoy doing it with Dragon Ball Z, because it's usually just like not as much of a conversation.
Yeah. All right. I think we can wrap this episode up. This has been a really enjoyable one, and a pretty long one. We're over 2 hours. So again, shout out to everybody at the party member or higher tier, but you guys have just made our job extremely difficult today, because we have so many people at the party member or higher tier. Thanks to the 1K, we have 120 people, which means we have to read out 120 names. So Kenny, there are 3 pages. I'm going to read out page 3 and 2, and then you do page 1. The reason I'm doing it is because page 3 has only like a couple, and then page 2 obviously is a full page, and then page 1 is
essentially we're both doing one whole page.
Exactly.
Like,
kind of, yeah. All right, so I'm going to start off with shout outs. So we have Konami really got people saying yummy snatchy. I know that the yummy cards just came out, so that's kind of wild. Nova Leo, Quest, Xavier Swift, This Ain't God, This is Stanley Earl, Hanging with Epstein, Mr. Fantastic, Omri Reynolds, Ozark is Mid, Vince, Dallas Bailey, KJ, How Much Meter You Got, Sarah Maria, Alex Ahern, FT Campa, Edison Club, Big Bor, Grok, Sugal, Mr. Sultai, Vicky Venomon, Elijah Barfault, Tyler Tadeo, Volvi the Mega Monarch. Haters call it glazing. I call it supporting the homies. So if you're a hater, just call me Christy Cream. Janitor 215, Joshua Carroll, Eric Chai, Wayne Bangui, Brian Moore. I only use condoms on fat chicks and the homeless. Gingerilla, Darling Hold My Hand. Tim Bailey, Ryder Dies, Taco Bell, Majin Labubu, Billy Jiroji, Chef Taku, DeMarco Santos, Nextastic, Mamezuku Rai, Cormac Newton, B-Dog 23, Hershey Bar, Employster, Tyler Frasher, Sasha Egger, Daniel Anderson, Daroa, Ask the Mattress Sleeping is Goated, Jordan Eastman, Robert Light, Clanger. Kenny's shaking his head. Kenny is shaking his head.
Oh, I don't like this.
Fontaine Andrea, John Doe, Kunsong Tenzing, HT19, Gregory Comering, Limp Biscuit Jigsaw, Mike and John, Rich Silverberg, Santi, Frogo, Anthony Japov, Michael Zhang, Sherrod Taylor, Tim Ponce, Tyler, Chris Louie, and then we have
Tristan, Joshua Johnson, Luis Juarez, Julian Weidman, The Hopeless One, Nicholas Cook, Ian Baylor, Choo Choo Train, JTL, Cave, Raj, Chris Kemp, Dustin Wallace, James McGregor, Thu, Michael Gray, Vlax Mail, Trace Crominga, John K, Cameron, Dark Void TG, Pearson Boyer, Aurelio K, Sampu, Daniel Brando, Jacob Cho, Jackson Conrad, or no, it's Samu.
Yes, but I like Sampu. That was actually good.
Sampu, listen, all right. A lot of these names I'm reading for the first time.
Same.
Jackson Conrad, I feel like this should be like Shrublaster, but Shrabster, Chris Flores, Gourmand, Cold Madness, Oliver Beer. I was thinking Olivier from fucking Fullmetal Alchemist. Oliver Beer, Alexander Storp, Wolf Young or Wolf Yug, Ruben Santana, Ricardo Rivera, Stalikrup, Smiley Face, Justin Herman, Jake Tamer, Carlos Martinez, Nakata, Guan.
There you go. That's actually probably better.
That might have been a slur. If I said the end, that might have been crazy. Chess Prime, shout out to Chess Prime for winning the 1K.
Indeed.
Connor Ketchum, Austin Downham, Mass 22, Joshua S, Luca Guarino, Carl Waite, Idris Hosni, Brian Vargas, and Chris Johnston.
Whew, that is the longest readout for shoutouts we've ever had to do. So again, thank you every single person who subscribed.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate every single one of you. This has been an incredible month for the IMNerd podcast. We hosted our first ever 1K. As I did say in the stream following, that we are going to be doing another 1K in the near future. So just be on the lookout for that. It will be this year, so don't worry. But yeah, we're doing another 1K. And I'm doing a lot of streaming on the week of September 1st to September 5th. So like that whole week I'm off work, which means that really I'm off for 9 days. So it could be like 9 days of streaming, but I'm not going to 100% commit to just like that yet. I need to also probably write out a list of things like Simo did of things that I could possibly do. Play some Slay the Spire, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, hang out with the boys, maybe play DC on stream, like me, Luke, Gary, and Cairo or something. Maybe do DraftKings Live. I have a lot of ideas. DraftKings Live, IMNerd podcast live. We could do an episode live, just shit like that. We could just do something.
I think the last time we did a live podcast was with Cameron Solomon.
I think it was. That was over a year ago. Yeah, and that was fun. That was actually fun, a live podcast. So yeah, that, you know, or live teach me how to cook, or live master disaster. You know, that could also be a thing where we just like the chat is there while we're playing and seeing what actually goes down. Okay. Yep. I think that's everything, guys. Please write into imnerdpodcast@gmail.com with your listener letters. That's how this episode happened. And with that being said, do the things that make you happy, including hosting big tournaments for the game you love and growing the brand with your friend. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
So long, Gay Bowser.
So long.